live to us. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Wednesday Night Modern here at MTGCardMarket. I'm Matthew Cartier, in the booth tonight with Dan Dwan. Hoping to see some good Modern tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a couple of exciting matches queued up for you already, and we can throw it down to the player. Looks like we're just about to get started here.
Yeah, well, okay, so as we take a look at what we've got here tonight, so our first matchup is going to be Ken Ropiak, who's playing Amulet Titan. He'll be on the left. Amulet Titan, sort of a run back to the old Amulet Bloom deck, which eventually had to be banned from Modern, specifically the card Summer Bloom. But some crazy brewers have made it work again with a card called Sakura Tribe Scout, which we'll pull up here on the right. And the deck seems to be alive. Yeah,
your draw's a little less explosive, but the core engine of the deck is still intact. Amulet Bloom back in the day, you could easily just play a couple lands and just combo them off without a Summer Bloom. And with the introduction of Sakura Tribe Scout, you get some very aggressive starts as well. This list is now heavier on Azusas to have like a Summer Bloom-esque effect.
Sure. Yeah, and I don't know what Joe's playing, but I might have seen a Springleaf Drum while they were shuffling, so he could be on Affinity, which will be, in which case this matchup will probably involve the players not really interacting with each other ever.
Right. One thing that can really punish the Amulet deck is just aggressive draw.
Just like get a Cranial Plating and hit them with it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we'll look here. It looks like... Oh, wait, it's Fish.
Oh,
it's Fish. Okay.
Sure. So that must have been an Aether file.
Yeah. Yeah, so Joe on Merfolk. With Merfolk, I guess, without drawing a bunch of Spreading Seas, I'm not really... it doesn't feel great.
Yeah, and Ken's got an Engineer Explosives, which on 2 is going to be brutal.
Yeah, Ken will start it off with the card we have already conveniently pulled up on the side here, Sakura Tribe Scout.
No, Ken does have an Amulet in hand as well, so next turn can be very explosive.
Yeah, if he has a Primeval Titan, he could very well go off. I guess you need Primetime Azusa, but there's a Slayer Stronghold.
Okay.
So we'll see what Ken wants to do with that.
It looks like there's a Simic Growth Chamber in his hand as well.
Okay. Yeah, so there's the Amulet.
So that means we have 4 mana. If we can cast an Azusa, we can cast Primeval Titan this turn.
Ken's going to bounce the... so he's got green-blue floating, and he'll use it to cast an Ancient Stirrings. So now just blue floating. With the ability to play... Ooh. Oh, God. Okay. So now Ken is going to have to activate Sakura Tribe Scout. Maybe? I don't know. I guess he's thinking about not doing that. But he could make a ton of mana.
Ooh, so as a colony, something Garden?
Yeah, Colony Garden. He does need to tap the Sakura Tribe Scout, though.
Yes.
Yeah. That Sakura Tribe Scout should be tapped. That's not it. It's Colony Garden. Hang on. But this card makes a plant token when it comes into play. It's a good blocker. Looks like Joe is going to be playing out a Silvergill Adept. Just cantrip, revealing a Mirror Reedry from his hand. So he's got a 2/1.
It looks like he drew into Curse Catcher.
Wait, we need to go fix this. That Tribe Scout should have been tapped. I don't know how he did that end of turn.
Oh, he didn't play a second land.
Oh. Oh, God. So he just made 6 mana.
Oh, yeah. So Ken played the Garden as his second land.
But what let him play the second land?
Oh, no, he played a Simic. Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so Dan is going to hop out of the booth and fix that real quick. Hopefully there's nothing too amiss, but that seems like it should not have happened the way it did. Yeah, so... But, Dan always quick to sort of get these things sorted out and get us back underway as soon as possible, so should be just fine. So it looks like they're going to have a discussion here. In the meantime, this is going to be a long backup, though, it looks like. Yeah, so you have to pick that Slayer Stronghold back up. Go to Ken's turn. So they actually did do something wrong then, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot. He played a Sim Growth Chamber, untapped it, and then used that for the second amulet and the ancient stories.
Yeah. Okay, but Ken does now play. So using the Tribe Scout does play the Simic Growth Chamber, and using Amulet of Vigor, tap it in response to its bounce trigger multiple times. So Ken here gonna go get what looks like a Boros Garrison, and see the problem is that he's got this Slayer Stronghold in hand, and I kind of like playing the Simic Growth Chamber, tapping the Scout, right?
Yeah. So
I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. He can just play the Growth Chamber, or he can play the Stronghold. Yeah. But, so yeah, Amulet of Vigor here on the right, you know, whenever a permanent enters the battlefield, tapped and under control, untap it. Very powerful with Primeval Titan, which will pull up. Because you get these permanents tapped, you get to untap. Oh my god, he's going to make, like, literally infinite mana damage.
Yeah, so currently...
so Ken choosing to find a Teleria West and a Growth Chamber. He's going to make so much. So this is what, like 9 mana?
No, 6 mana.
Well, no, so he gets... Oh, yeah, you're right. 6 mana. So he's going to make 6 mana, use the...
Teleria, transmute that into a Pact, and then cast another Primeval Titan.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so with double Amulet out, if you get the lands... what's the term? Guru land? No, no.
Karoo.
Karoo lands. Excuse me. Yeah, if you get Karoo lands... each one represents 4 mana.
For those of you who aren't familiar with these lands, so Simic Growth Chamber, this is a cycle from Ravna, Return to Ravnica? Original Ravnica? I think it's Original Ravnica. But basically, they're all the guilds. They make you put a land back in your hand. Very popular in Pauper and in this deck. Also pretty good in Limited.
Right, so Ken is going to be able to get all 4 Primeval Titans out of his deck, play all 4 of them, and then with the last Primeval Titan trigger, get a double Boros Garrison.
Yeah.
And then...
give him all haste.
He'll only be able to give 2 things haste.
Okay, but that... Oh, God. This is filthy.
Right. It depends on how deep Ken wants to go. He can only attack with 2. So... Oh, he can actually get an Azusa, and then give everything haste.
Yup, he could. But it looks like Ken is actually just going to put 2 Primeval Titans into play and pass the turn, leave them unhasted. End of turn, Joe Viles and a Curse Catcher. Not sure that's going to be enough against these Primeval Titans, though.
No, he's a little bit outclassed right now.
He's also super duper dead on the attack. Like more than just like regular dead. Assuming Ken remembers to pay for his pact, that is.
Right, and Ken left himself with enough mana that unless Joe has... you know, triple Spreading Seas, Ken will be able to pay for the pact.
Yeah, no, this...
Oh, I guess triple Spreading Seas isn't even good. He has he has Gemstone for the green source.
Although pact is double green, so... so triple Spreading Seas would do it theoretically.
Sure.
But that doesn't look like it's happening. Okay, so another Curse Catcher and a Master of the Pearl Trident going to hit the board here for Joe. The unfortunate thing, you know, maybe it's like, I think it's sort of come through in the tone that I'm conveying, is like, I'm not sure that it matters.
No, this
right?
is
It's
not.
just, I think that Joe is just going to die.
These are, at a minimum, going to be 2 6/6 double strikers, and they naturally have trample.
Yup.
So
goodbye.
It's going to be difficult to have profitable blocks. We'll put it that way.
All right. So Ken gonna make some mana with oh my.
Oh, also Engineer Explosives, pretty good.
Well, especially because he can just play it and crack it with the floating mana, right?
Yes. Looks like he might
do that.
Yeah, he'll do that.
Goodbye. Okay. So those will leave. Ken says activate Tribe Scout, put in this Slayer Stronghold, which we have pulled up on the right here. WotC with the ever-correct apostrophes on their cards. I put it in the wrong way the first time. There are multiple Slayers. This is not the stronghold of one Slayer. But Ken's going to attack with these Primeval Titans. Going to get 4 lands here. So that looks like a Boros Garrison. And one of them will be a Sunhome, Fortress of the Legion. Sunhome. Nope. This one. So this will untap... Okay, so basically here's the crazy part.
Yeah, so he's just gonna have to tap his other lands to be able to give him double strike, but
That's fine.
that's totally fine.
Well, no, because he's getting 2 more lands here.
Yeah, so he'll get
Vesuva.
Vesuva to copy the Boros Garrison, and doesn't really matter.
Yeah. This is insane.
Yep. So
This is the turn 3?
4. No, it is a turn 3. Yes.
Yeah.
But the draws with multiple amulets are always a little.
A little busted.
Yeah, they don't look particularly fair.
Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, so these are, I think, enough double strike damage to kill Joe through blocks, right?
Yeah, Joe can violin another creature, but again, like, even if you somehow manage to survive this, what do you do going forward? Like, it's not getting any better for you.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, Joe doesn't have the kill here. I don't know what the life totals are, but I'm guessing Joe's is going to be extremely low, right?
Ken actually took a kind of Ken could have taken a much more conservative route and gotten a Tolarian West with one of his lands, so he has backup Pact of something.
Sure, so he could go Pact of Negation.
He could tune up a Pact of Negation.
Well, that's going to do it for that game.
Yeah.
As Ken points out that my guys have double strike, and they're like 8/6 tramples.
Yeah.
So you're dead. So that's going to do it for the first game. Amulet Titan, you know, when Summer Bloom got banned, everyone was like, oh, goodbye, sweet deck. I feel like it might be back.
Yeah, I mean, so this part of the deck hasn't changed. What has changed is you no longer get, absurdly busted draws.
Right.
Admittedly, if you have multiple amulets, it's still very good, right? The amulets, by itself, very powerful element of the pseudo combo deck.
Absolutely.
It's just now you can't consistently, turn to a Primeval Titan now.
Which, is pretty fair.
Yeah. Because a lot of times, you play Summer Bloom, it's, even if you don't have an amulet out, you just use it to ramp.
Right, you get so far ahead.
You get so far ahead, and all of a sudden, turn 3, you just hard cast a Primeval Titan.
That was the thing with the deck, is like, don't have a Primeval Titan, but I can just Pact for one on my upkeep, and then, like, get a Primeval Titan and hard cast it on turn 3, and then you're doing the same stuff, you're off to the races.
Yeah, so, in this deck, you effectively have 12 copies of Primeval Titan. Because you have 4 Tolaria West, 4 Pacts, and the 4 Titans themselves.
I mean, Tolaria West, multiple Tolaria West can make draws awkward, but, like, the consistency, because you can get a Tolaria West and a bounce land which will pay for almost all of the transmute cost, even with just one amulet, with each Titan, it means that as soon as you play the first Titan, you're just mowing through Titans, right? Like, you're not...
With 2 amulets out, you can kind of go infinite. You can play all 4 Primeval Titans. With only one, it's still pretty good.
It takes some work.
It takes a little bit more work.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, one of the things with this deck, though, it's unlikely that your opponent has this density of removal, but I did see games even with the old amulet deck where, like, they just killed all your Primeval Titans. And correct me if I'm wrong, but this Amulet Bloom deck is not playing the Hivemind kill that we saw in the old one, right?
Right. The deck has to be a little more clunky, and all of a sudden you just can't afford the Hivemind. The
turn 2 Hivemind was always pretty sick, though. Like, let me, go Summer Bloom, float mana from playing 3 Karoo lands, play Hivemind, play Pact, kill you.
Yes.
Like, that was just like, I don't know, that's like a cool, like, even though it's super frustrating because it's very difficult to interact with, it's like a cool way to, like, kill someone.
Yeah. So we didn't get to see it though, but this deck plays much more fairly if you don't have an amulet, right?
Right.
And a lot of hands you have to keep that don't have an amulet in it.
Which is why even though, you're playing a deck where, like, your payoff cards are Primeval Titan, Azusa, Summoner's Pact, you're still playing Ancient Stirrings because it is so important to find amulets.
Right. No, it can also find a Karoo land if you have, amulets out, but, you don't have a way to bounce things. Because that is one of the problems with the amulet deck is that, if you don't have a Karoo in hand, and you leave it in play, all of a sudden you can't do all these bounce shenanigans.
Yeah, you can't go, like, crazy positive on mana just by playing your land drop.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see Joe on the play here. I don't hate this matchup because Joe does just naturally have land hate in his main deck and can present a pretty substantial clock.
Yeah, I mean,
it can open up with probably one of the better hands in this deck.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's obviously some variance for, like, there's obviously the chance that like your hands are much worse with this deck.
Right. No, the Amulet Bloom deck does have a turn 2 kill.
Yeah, it does do that with double amulet.
Yeah, it requires double amulet and I believe what's it called? Zusa to help you get the land drops.
Yeah, looks like Ken's gonna mulligan here. Had his Serum Visions and stuff, but his lands were Cavern of Souls and like the red-green bounce land, Gruul Turf, which you just can't keep because you don't like. It's so slow to play the Azusa.
Right, and they cast so few things.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and like no other lands either. So like even if you get an Azusa into play, like Azusa's pretty bad if you can't, play more lands.
Yeah. If you're not leveraging her ability, all of a sudden it just becomes.
It's a 3-mana 1/2. It's pretty, pretty mediocre stats. Would not play a 3-mana 1/2 in draft. Would play a 3-mana 1/2 that like let me play extra lands.
Yeah.
But not just regular 3-mana 1/2s. But it looks like Joe mulliganed as well. Mm-hmm. So both players are going to be a little bit hobbled here. See, the problem is I don't know if Ken has like a non-bounce land. Which means that like he can't actually play any lands.
Right, he's got a bunch of the Sakura. Joe's gonna top a Lord, and Ken's gonna find an amulet on top.
But I don't think he can keep this because he doesn't like. What land can Ken?
He's got a Simic Growth Chamber in hand.
Right, but that bounces it. It bounces itself.
Yeah, it can just bounce itself.
Oh. But he doesn't make mana without this.
I'm a little confused by this play here.
Not playing a land here?
Yeah, Ken could have just done this next turn.
Maybe he... Yeah, I don't know, actually. Okay, so that's a Fire Spout. So Ken gonna untap, bounce that to his hand, play a Tribe Scout, blue floating, and pass the turn. Mm-hmm. So draw for Joe.
So the card at the very end must not be... It does look like a Gemstone Caverns, but no, that must not be it.
No. So Joe gonna run out a Lord of Atlantis now too. So this is a 3-power attack here. Ken is just gonna say, of course I'll take that. I will go to 17. Mm-hmm. Draw a card from the top. It's a Teleria West, so that means he does have the ability to actually like put a permanent put a land into play. Mm-hmm. Right now his board's looking a little sparse.
Yeah. So Ken
Simic Growth Chamber, make green-blue. Play Ancient Stirrings.
Okay, so this hopefully will get...
Maybe get him into, like, an untapped land, or just another amulet to play.
Ooh, that he can play.
Oh, my God. Okay, so now he has to activate Scout, but he can cast Fire Spout here.
Yes, but Fire Spout will kill his Scout.
Yes, but also, like, 2 Lords?
It doesn't matter, though. Ken next turn can go ham on... Because with that, he can just...
activate Scout, make a bunch of mana this time.
Yep, so that's 4 mana.
Ancient Stirrings.
Stirrings again.
Oh god, not another amulet, Dan. Funnily enough, we're going to go into...
So he's got 3 floating in a Teleria West in hand. So he's presumably going to transmute this into a Pact right here.
Yeah, because he can't take... Yeah, so he'll take this Mine. And I think that, he'll... Transmuting for a Pact is the right thing to do with the leftover mana.
Yeah.
And good.
And next turn he'll have natural land drop plus the Scout.
Yeah, which will give him
8 mana.
Right. You know what's also sort of weird is in response to the trigger on, like in response to like the Pact of Negation trigger, you can like Ken can essentially put a land into play at instant speed
and
pay for it, which is kind of hilarious because it gets completely around spreading season stuff. Also, not that it matters, but Joe can't have Island Walk because Ken doesn't have an island. But this is just an attack for 6. Ken is going to go 11. Getting pretty dangerously low here. Master of Waves. So Ken has to win now.
Yeah, and I believe Ken can win on this turn.
Oh God, really?
Yeah. So he's going to have 8 mana. Mm-hmm. And since he had double amulet, he can play all of his Primeval Titans.
Ken draws, finds a
Botanical Sanctum.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so Ken should be able to play all 4 Primeval Titans and give 2 of them haste.
Is that enough, though?
Yes, because then he can also give them both double strike.
Joe has... There's like, what, 5, 6... No, 5, 7... Joe has 13 power of... Or 13 toughness on board. So Joe maybe doesn't die, but he certainly has to give up his whole board to do it.
So let's do a little bit of math here, right? So the Primeval Titans will be 8/8.
8/6.
8/6 double strike. I don't think Joe, unless Joe puts everything in front of one, can't do enough to kill them. On top of that, all 4 of them are going to be untapped. So he has 4 blockers on the other side as well.
Alright, so Ken just made 8 mana, put the Primeval Titan into play trigger. Yikes. Alternatively, I could see Ken, if he wants to play it safe, I could see him going for the Fire Spout now.
Sure. So what I would like from Ken is for him to get multiple Primeval Titans and then just cast the Fire Spell from it.
Yeah.
The problem is, like, if Ken goes super aggressive, he might not be able to pay for this pack trigger.
Right. No, he can always pay for his pack trigger because he can vial in a land with the Scout.
Not if he Fire Spells.
Oh, you're right.
I think Ken might have had lethal if he just went the full combo. So play all the Primeval Titans, and
Ken says
just
attack with this 8/6 haster.
No, 10/6.
Oh, he gave it 2 activations,
Yes.
right? Okay. So trigger, get some more stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at his hand here and think about it a little bit. Jeez.
So this is a little tricky because if he wants to cast Fire Spell, he's gotta have I think Ken put himself in a really rough spot here.
Why?
Because if he casts Fire Spell, he loses the Scout. But he also has to pay Pact on his next turn.
Right, so he'd have to get bounce. He
has to get double bounce land
and bounce the Boros Garrison.
Yeah.
Or
So that's a Radiant Fountain.
I would be afraid if okay, so Ken's gonna go up to 13 here from the Radiant Fountain trigger. But can he pay for Pact?
Yeah, I believe Pact is only single green.
I think it's double green. I think it's 2 green. There's Summoning Pact.
A Summoner's Pact.
Summoner's Pact, right. Oops. I am bad at typing. Summoner's Pact. Get it. Double.
Oh, there's double green.
Oh, and I think Joe says attack, and Ken's going to scoop it up. So, yeah, I'm not...
So let's math that out, right?
Yeah.
So Ken had gone and gotten all 4 Primeval Titans. And then attack with 2 of them.
Can you get all 4 Primeval Titans there?
Yes, because you get you just get a Growth Chamber and
Tolaria West.
Tolaria West each time.
Okay, yeah. And then you make exactly 6, yeah.
No, you make you get 2 untap triggers. You go
make
up 3 mana.
Well, you make 4 from the.
You get 2 untaps, right? So you make 6 mana. So you go up.
Wait, you get 2 untaps, which means you get 3 taps?
No. Simic Growth Chamber comes into play. You untap it, tap it for 2, untap it again.
Tap it for 2.
And you can tap it for 2 again. So
Okay,
you get 4 mana from that, and Tolaria West makes 2.
2, so that's 6.
You get 6 from each one, yes.
Sorry, I thought you said you were going up.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work. He needed an Azusa in play.
So let's see. He could have also summoned or pacted 4 in Azusa. And then if you played with the Azusa played the Simic Growth Chamber, that makes additional 4. Huh.
Yeah, but I think the math is a little bit weird, and I'm not sure that I don't think he could have gotten all 4 Primeval Titans in that situation. Because he has, because he made 8, right?
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
He made 8 mana. He had 2 left over after he cast the first Prime Time. But each Prime Time, to do the Tolaria West package, you have to pay 3. So he's left with he's left with 5. Yeah, so he doesn't.
So the 3rd amulet, you can do it.
Sure, yeah, you need the 3rd amulet though. So that doesn't work, and Ken will fall here. 1-1. He'll be on the play this game. Weird game though from him. Starting with double bounce land is like not great. Also, like, what was his plan if he didn't scry Amulet? Like, what do you actually do?
You find the amulet, right? Can't find exactly what he was looking for.
Oh my god!
And if we could pull a fire spout here, this is a card I used to see quite a bit of play that has kind of fallen off.
Yeah, Tron isn't really playing it anymore, and Anger the Gods is better for a lot of decks.
Right.
Yeah, Fire Spout, pretty good, pretty good Wrath. Ken starting on Amulet and Serum Visions in hand with another Fire Spout, and a Pact, and an Azusa, and a Botanical Sanctum. Like, this seems pretty stacked for him. He'll start off on the, Biological Sanctum?
No, Botanical
Sanctum. Awesome, like the Botanical Gardens. And instead of Amulet, Ken will lead on Serum Visions. I like this because he needs to set up some land drops.
Yeah, it looks like he drew a Radiant Fountain as well.
Not bad. He'll double bottom on the scry, though.
We're really looking for a Kuru here.
Absolutely. He does have an Azusa in hand, it looks like. Joe will start off on a land and a pass, which to me says Spell Pierce or no 1-drop, so I am mildly afraid of running an Amulet into this. But if you have no fear in your Ken, you can just do it.
Also, we're in no rush to play the Amulet, right? We can just play the Scout here, and then play other land.
Yep, Ken will go up to 22, and he'll put an Amulet on the stack, and the Amulet resolves. So no Spell Pierce from Joe. Always a scary moment where you're like, oh well, the Spell Pierce. Joe has a Spreading Seas here, but choosing not to play it as there's not really like a good target. I mean, I guess if you knew if Ken had Ancient Stirrings, you might be tempted to target the Sanctum, but instead he'll just play a Silvergill and Cantrip.
And we have to also remember the Spreading Seas becomes significantly worse
when he bounces the land out from under it. Yeah. So Ken here definitely looking for a Kuru now.
Yeah. So we're playing Ancient Stirring, so it's likely we're gonna find one now.
Right. He needs to hit a green Kuru, and I think he just hit a Simic Growth Chamber.
Okay. So the Simic Growth Chamber will allow him he can just play it. Bounce itself, play it again from the Azusa.
Yeah.
And then
bounce your Radiant Fountain.
Yeah. So the only thing that this does is it makes the Fire Spout kind of bad.
Yeah, I agree. He's gonna make a bunch of mana here. Oh wow. Okay, so he's just gonna be able to play Titan now. Yikes.
Yeah.
Because the Azusa gives him 2 land drops, and the Primeval Titan gives him the...
No,
and the Scout gives him the 3rd.
Yeah, the Azusa gives 2, the Scout gives the 3rd.
Yeah, and so this will just be an attack with a casual 8/6 Haste Trample. Vigilance, also.
Yes, can't forget the Vigilance.
Ken gonna use the bounce to bounce his Radiant Fountain so he can gain more life. And here comes the attack. Joe's probably just going to take this and go to 12, right? I mean, assuming Ken doesn't... Yeah, I don't know what Ken's tutoring for.
Yeah, so...
okay, so this to me suggests he's getting Teleria West.
No, I actually would not get Teleria West. Teleria West means you lose to Spreading Seas.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so yeah, Ken going to get...
he's going to get a
Vesuva.
Probably copying a Simic Growth Chamber.
Yeah.
And then... ooh, so
he's not dead. He has Scout to Violent Land.
Correct. Yeah. Oh man, Scout adds a really new dimension to this game.
Scout adds a I don't lose to Spreading Seas dimension to this game. Ken gonna pick up the... What? Why is the Botanical Sanctum tapped?
I think Ken might have picked up the wrong land.
Maybe he realized he loses to Spreading Seas this way.
Yeah.
But this is gonna be Silvergill, reveal Reedry again, draw a card. Joe's at 12, by the way. Conveniently forgot to throw that up there. Joe draws off the Silvergill. So like the thing is against Merfolk is against a lot of decks, this is like a really good draw. Like against Jund, this draw's sweet. Okay, so Ken does pay for the Pact, is going to draw a card, finds a Gemstone Mine.
I'm a little curious as to what the Vesuva is copying.
Likewise, because
it was
copying a Growth Chamber, the Sanctum would be untapped, yeah.
Right, so it must have been copying either the Botanical Sanctum or Boros Garrison. Okay, so Ken's gonna play Boros Garrison, float some mana, Slayer Strong, hold the Primeval Titan.
Here's the attack.
And attack.
Or no, so he played Boros Garrison, played Slayer Stronghold, make the Primeval Titan an 8/6, get Vesuva. I think Vesuva might be copying Boros Garrison. Oh, and that actually would make a lot of sense.
Yes,
because that's why he had to pay, because he needed the double green from Sanctum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but this is just going to be a Sunhome, Fortress of the Legion, and this is going to give the Primeval Titan double strike, presumably.
Doesn't quite have the mana for it, but
he can vial in a land with Scout.
Yeah, Ken can vial in a land.
Joe says blocks. Ken says fine. Vial this land in, do this, bounce it, float some mana, do this, give this double strike. It's an 8/6 double strike trample, and Joe's done blocks, and Joe's going to scoop it up. That's going to do it. Amulet Bloom, or Amulet Titan now, I guess, taking down Merfolk 2-1. Pretty good match. Merfolk in the second game, like, very fair and slightly slower opener, whereas, whereas like against the Titan deck, you really can't afford to be that slow. Dan's gonna hop out of the booth for just a second. We do have a backup match nearby, theoretically, assuming they haven't finished yet. So hopefully we'll get to see hopefully we'll get another match in here for you guys. Get another good modern. I think the backup we had was Blue Moon versus Eldrazi and Taxes. So we will see if those guys have finished or not. Fingers crossed that they haven't. But yeah, Amulet Bloom just showcasing its insane power level in that match. The deck is still very real, folks. Ken is also going this weekend to SCG Baltimore, and I believe he is going to play the deck there as part of his modern team. There's like, so this weekend, for those of you who don't know, SCG Baltimore is taking place, and it's kind of a crazy format. It's team constructed, and so what that means is you have a modern deck, a legacy deck, and a standard deck, and you have 3 people on your team, and your team tries, and so if you win your match, that goes into like your team's match as 1. Nobody. 0 people. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Just having a brief discussion with Dan about what we want for the next match. Dan is going to hop out, see if we can get one. I guess the people sitting right next to these guys finished up. But, yeah, so for Baltimore, you have a modern deck, a legacy deck, and a standard deck. And you sit next to, your team sits next to each other, and if 2 out of 3 of your teammates win, then you win the round. So it's kind of a cool team-based format. It should be really interesting, actually. Some people are bringing, what are you good at? Who's your modern specialist? Who's your legacy guy? Who's your standard guru who's been keeping up with the meta, sort of thing. So there's actually like probably 3 or 4 teams going from the shop here, and it should be kind of a crazy event. The team format is not something that we see very often. It's not unified, so you can have more than you can have more than a playset of a card across decks. You can have like, modern and legacy deck with Lightning Bolt. You could have, fetch lands, that sort of thing. So that's really cool. And, Ken is going to play Amulet Bloom for his modern team, and hopefully just score free wins, basically, with just, can you deal with 2 Primeval Titans on turn 4 sort of thing. Add Dixon Crow in the chat. Love to see some Eldrazi if it's in Loom Night. I know we have Eldrazi and Taxes. Their match I do think finished, though. I don't know if we have other Eldrazi. It seems pretty likely that we do. Yeah, Bant Eldrazi and Eldrazi-tron. I don't know about Eldrazi-tron. I'm going to probably say we don't have that, but we might have some Bant Eldrazi. I think we have a couple people who play it here locally, and I'm just not sure if they're here tonight or if they've decided to audible off the deck. I'm just going to do some resetting of the overlays here, guys. Hopefully we get another match here. Dan has been out for a while, so this should be, hopefully he can persuade some people to go on. And he's come back through the door, and he's given me the across the throat thumbs down, which means that we are going to throw it back up to the breathe freeze. briefly, and we can talk about Baltimore. So Dan, I was just talking to the chat a little bit about the format of Baltimore, where you're gonna have modern, legacy, and standard all play side by side. Do you think that people are going to be bringing so Ken is playing Amulet Titan, for example. Do you think that people are going to be bringing just like the most unfair decks they can to something Baltimore, just trying to cheese some wins and then hope their standard or their legacy player gets there?
Well, so this is I think this is the first time this format has been played.
Ever?
Ever. I can't recall another team constructed event, at least not at least in recent memory.
Right.
So since there are no deck building constraints, it's kind of people can play whatever they want. Your success in a format is completely independent of everyone else's success, right?
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I would guess that the format would be skewed toward more entry-level decks, because it's likely that someone or multiple people there on the team may not be familiar with the format that they've been given.
Yeah.
If you so happen to have a player who's interested in Legacy and another one interested in Modern, another one in Standard, that's great. It just works that you just play whatever.
I feel like
if someone is forced into one of the formats, they might be forced to play Burn or pick up something that
easier to
handle. Yeah.
I think it's very possible that the teams that go with a legacy player who knows what they're doing are going to be at a general advantage over the average team, just because I don't know how many legacy players there are. Maybe this is just going to be one of those things where every single legacy player who I can play constructed legacy for 15 rounds shows up for this. But I'm going to guess there's going to be a lot of teams that are just going to be legacy, what is this?
Right, the legacy is a big constraint. There are a ton of standard players, and most players to some degree are kind of interested in modern, right?
But legacy is another jump.
So and legacy events are always the smallest. They're always much more niche, and this tournament just logistically has a lot of difficulties, right? You have to actually have two teammates that are willing to go. So
you have to have two people who you trust to sit next to you for 15 rounds and not just watch them punt egregiously.
I mean, and admittedly, it's also a good time to just play a tournament with your friends, have a good time, right?
It seems hilarious, honestly, just sitting next to your buddies, right? If you're the one who's winning every round and the other two are just barely sort of picking it up, you're I am carrying the team.
Right. No excuses here, right?
Right.
Because in the past, all the other team events have been either team unified something or team limited.
Right.
And for that, you always had the excuse of
my pool's bad.
We put all the good cards here, or I had to build a suboptimal deck because we needed the bolts in this deck or something.
Yeah.
You're just playing events. Three people are playing individual events, and we're tallying up the scores each round.
Man, it's gonna. And you're playing your standard for your team, right?
Yeah, I'm playing standard for our team.
And you're gonna play something probably the green-black variety, I'd imagine.
Yeah, at least that's the plan right now.
Okay.
We never know. We might shake it up at the end.
I think you're probably gonna stay on green-black. I'm just gonna predict that right now. But what do you think? And then, do you know what the rest of your team is playing?
It's not locked yet.
Okay.
One of the players it's fairly locked, but the second one.
Your modern player is 100% to play Jeskai. This is no.
You never know. You never know. But yeah, so it should be an interesting weekend.
It'll be interesting to see if people sort of look at the because I'm guessing we will get modern deck breakdowns, right? So I'm wondering if we're gonna see anyone be the new it's possible that someone plays a bad modern deck, gets hard carried by their standard and legacy players, and then people are wait, is this deck actually good? And then you'll have to go back through all the even if that data even exists, and be did this person actually win around because it's who was it, Paul Cheon getting carried to the
no
team?
it was
Cheon also got carried.
Cheon got carried.
It was Jacob Wilson, I believe.
Oh yeah, I know. Jacob Wilson also got carried. You're just I lost every single round, but my team carried. It's fine. We top aided.
I think he was actually 1-14 on the weekend or something like that.
I mean, if your team
1-13, there are 14 rounds for team limited.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there are two interesting elements of this tournament, though. It's going to be the first Open with Fatal Push for the Modern and Legacy.
Ooh, yeah, because we've had some classics, but we
had a
haven't
bunch
had
of
a big wide event yet.
Although, to be fair, it's not necessarily a big event. It's capped at 300 teams. So this is really only a 300-person tournament for each respective...
that's really interesting.
Right.
So it's like somewhat small, actually.
It is quite small.
Is it still the full 15 rounds?
Yes, full 15 rounds.
All right, let's go.
But, yeah, capped at 300 teams. And it adds an interesting dynamic as well, because it doesn't matter how well you individually do. It matters how well your team do.
I mean, all you have to do is go 15-0, and your team just has to, the rest of you guys have to go 50%, right?
Right,
like,
but you can get pushed into different matchups that you normally wouldn't.
Right. Oh, yeah, because, like, if someone is playing, like, like a less competitive deck in your format, but their teammates are carrying them.
Right, and then you can end up in a bracket where all of a sudden, you have good matchups. Like,
right.
you get pushed into a bracket where it's like, oh, now, like, my previously unfavorable matches in, like, the early rounds of a tournament that would have, like, hindered me previously.
Right.
I got carried past it, and now this deck is great. So there's a lot of interesting dynamics in, like, how...
This sounds strategic.
Right,
man.
in, like,
Jeez.
deck selection, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, it's also, like I said, you can just play whatever you want. I do think it's going to be heavier... more heavily skewed toward, like, burn decks, aggressive decks.
Yeah,
because
just like that exists, and
yeah.
that's easy. That's easier to pick up. Like if you don't,
and especially in Legacy, I would imagine that there's
gonna be so much Legacy burn. Holy moly!
Yeah, I would imagine there's gonna be far more burn and far more like Belcher-esque decks than there normally would be.
Hey man, nothing wrong with Belcher, right? Just turn one, get him.
Yeah, although Belcher is a little bit worse now with the Reanimator decks playing like 4x Annex.
Yeah, for those so we're talking about this card, Chancellor of the Annex, and this guy here. I'll pull up the card image on the right here. This card is a 4 of in some Legacy decks.
Yeah, although I suppose it just only counters like your Lotus Petal, so it's not too backbreaking.
Yeah, it's just like this, like the red black Reanimator decks are super real. Like they don't care. They're just gonna like darker it into like Entomb, Reanimate, Gristlebrand, go. Okay.
Right. So yeah. So should be very interesting, and it'll be a good test to see like where Fatal Push is in the format.
Yeah,
Fatal
that's
Push,
true.
Fatal Push is kind of polarized in Legacy because it's very good against a lot of decks and stone cold against nothing. I'm more interested in seeing like what some of the SCG grinders and the notables there innovated in Modern.
Yeah. Do you think this is a tournament that people are going to try to innovate at though, just because it's smaller? Or
no reason not to.
Sure.
If anything, this is if you think of it like imagine SCG Open with 300 players.
Yeah.
Right. That's like absurdly small.
Right. That's fair.
So yeah, this is an excellent opportunity to try to
come in with something and just be like, hey, can you beat this? There's been a lot of there's like been some deck lists running around recently, like the Death Shadow Jund list, which looks like the old sort of, which looks like they basically took some of the cards from Death Shadow and some of the cards from Jund and just were like, slam, put these together. What do we get? Death Shadow Jund apparently, or just like there's so many different things you can do in the format. I'm interested to see if somebody comes in with like a bug list, for example. If someone wants to play Sultai in Modern, like, can you make that work? We've seen some like nutty Delirium builds. Like I think in it's like a Brian DeMars article, like Sultai Delirium with like Traverse the Ulvenwald and Emrakul the Promised End. Is like, like I don't know about this deck, but
yeah, it should definitely be interesting. One thing with the team events also is that if you have 3 skilled players, it dramatically lowers the variance of your team. Like you will generally perform at your skill level, right? We see this a lot in the team limited portions where
pros will just smash.
Right. You look at all of the teams that like X1 or XO'd, and it's just
3 gold pros.
Yeah, it's triple gold, triple plat pros, and and that's the way it should be, right? If you play 3 times as many matches, it should help like even out the variance.
Yeah, that's true. People like Modern might be like a super high variance format, but when you're playing, when that is balanced out by the fact that you have like Legacy and Standard next to you, possibly it lets your it lets you take a couple losses where you're like, oh, like I
drew no
didn't-
land.
yeah.
Like,
Or
and you're
like
just gonna
my
lose.
hate, where is my affinity hate? Oh, they were both, my Stony Silences were both on the bottom, like, and you lose. Then it can be balanced out by your Belcher player just like making 20 goblins on turn 1 or something.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Belcher and you play against like Death and Taxes, it's just
You just win.
You just
before
win.
they play Thalia. Just like go for
just
it.
instantly win.
As soon as they play Thalia, though, you're having a bad day.
Doesn't matter. Thalia comes down on turn 2. They're dead before that.
I mean, you are a Belcher, so
Yeah.
you don't care.
But yeah, it looks like we should be parrying to round 2 pretty soon here.
Pretty soon. Okay.
We'll go ahead and step outside and
Take a look
see
real quick.
the status of the tournament.
Sure. Yeah, so while Dan steps out, I'm going to do some more overlay resetting. So bear with me here. Everything finished really fast this round, which is like, both the blessing and the curse of modern. Although all it takes is one person in the room who has like, I am playing blue-white control and my only finisher is a 1 main deck Elspeth Suns champion. It's like, okay, I guess like we're going to wait for 50 minutes while you attempt to draw your Elspeth Suns champion and plus it a bunch of times. But, if that doesn't happen, then we can get to a second round relatively shortly here. And hopefully, more. We'll definitely see some more decks. If chat has requests, I know we saw a request for Bant Eldrazi, but if there are, and also Esper, if there are other decks that chat wants to see, definitely let us know. We can look around the room for you. We're not guaranteed to have it, but we do have 30 players in the room tonight, so there's like a solid chance that whatever your heart desires, it could be in here. I think I saw someone running around with like a Lord's Goblin list, so you have like Goblin Pile Driver and what's it called? Like Goblin Chieftain, where you like give all your goblins haste and mountain walk, which is dope. So yeah, you got goblins running around. There's also like a spicy Bant-ish list. Which plays just like Big Knight of the Reliquaries and whatnot. So that's another brew that I know is here. I'm pretty sure we have like Grixis control, Jeskai control for sure.
A little bit of everything tonight.
Yeah.
We even have a new affinity player.
We do have a new affinity player.
We have.
Yeah, so one of the things, if you're in the Chicagoland area and you're looking to play Magic and you're looking to like spike some modern weeklies, you should just bring Affinity here, because nobody plays Affinity here. And if you played Affinity here, you'd probably stomp people, right? Like,
people have started cheating a little bit on their sideboard.
Actually, funny story. So last week, Vince, who's like the local Jeskai player, like literally doesn't play anything but Jeskai, was like, you know what? No one plays Affinity here. I'm gonna take this out. And then you know what he played in the third round? Tezzerator. So not even Affinity. We're just talking like Thopter Sword, both Tezzerets, Liliana of the Veil, just like
that seems like a matchup where Stony Silence would have been good.
Yeah, so he was like, he's like, well, I'm going to put these back in this week.
Sounds about right.
That's like the most modern thing to happen, right? You're just like, oh, I don't need this Affinity hit, and then you don't even play Affinity. You just play something else degenerate using artifacts, and you lose horribly.
But yeah, so when I stepped outside, it looks like there was one match outstanding.
Was it the Emeria player?
No, it was a Tron mirror, and one player had a World Breaker, and the other person did not have Tron. So that match seems to be concluding pretty rapidly.
Yeah, I have World Breaker, you don't have Tron is typically a good spot to be in. Although, we have seen Tron make some miraculous comebacks. A couple weeks ago, I'm Tron, I'm mulling to 4. It's fine, I have Ugin on turn 4 anyways. Like, what? Oh, man. Add Dmore1125 in the chat. Oh, no matter where I go, I always keep Stony in my Jeskai side. Yeah, you're 100% right to do that. It's just like, sometimes you don't, right? And then
right. I mean, if you want to metagame kind of hard, I mean, you can, if you get the extra sideboard slots from cutting the affinity stuff, you can improve your matches against certain things a little bit more.
One thing that's pretty prevalent at Card Market, or at least has been recently, are like big green ramp decks where you're playing like Utopia Sprawl and Arbor Elves. So like Stony Silence is not particularly good against those decks. But like you could play like more enchantment removal because they play like Blood Moons, and like obviously Utopia Sprawl is very good. You could do something like that. But I also think that like on some level, like metagaming for like a shop, especially if the price payout is top heavy, is like probably fine. But at some point you have to realize like, wait, if I go to a GP, like I will play Affinity 3 times and probably lose to it if I don't have the hate.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that like, you know, after, so like when I went to my first GP, I'd been playing Modern here for like 5 or 6 weeks, and I'm like, I never play against Affinity, it's fine. And then I went to my first GP, I played Affinity 3 times, and I was like, oh, this again. I mean, Kolaghan's Command makes that like somewhat winnable, but it was like the broader Modern metagame. A lot of people like to play robots. It's really good.
Yeah, it's a good deck. It's you know, not terribly expensive, and it's been good for a very long time. So even if you started building into it like back in the day, your deck is still good.
If you kept your deck from Mirrored and Standard, like A+.
Right, like a Ravager and Opal.
That's the money right there.
Yeah, that's pretty much what the money is at.
Yeah, and then there's yeah, you sit down across from someone and they start playing like, you know, like foiled out like Russian Affinity, and you're just like, oh wow, this person's probably really good, and then they destroy you.
Yeah. Well, Affinity's also in a unique position right now of being one of the few decks that you can very heavily masterpiece out.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, so that it's actually kind of funny. There's because of all these artifact masterpieces in this artifact block. So what, they printed Ravager, they printed Ornithopter, they printed Steel Overseer,
Opal,
printed Mox Opal. They're like
there's quite a few pieces.
There's quite a few pieces, and it's also like not just like Affinity, not just masterpieces, but like the Affinity deck generally has tons of promos.
Yes.
Like
yeah,
there's a Signal Pest promo, there's a Vault Scourge promo, there's pairings for second round right here. Amazing. All right.
Now give us a second as we
order off this menu here.
Order off.
Yeah. I'm totally okay with that.
Want to do that?
Yeah, one of these two. We can put them on backup or whatever. All right, amazing. D-More1125. I saw a spicy Affinity brew at SCG Baltimore Regionals that ran Bomat Courier to refuel after it ran out of gas. For those of you not familiar with Bomat Courier, this is Bomat Courier. It can be a very powerful card. Sometimes it's really bad, but other times it's really good. Actually, funnily enough, so my last name is Cartier, which like sometimes if you pronounce it weirdly, it can sometimes sound like if you pronounce Courier like Courier, it definitely sounds like Cartier. And I had a friend who made a Photoshop of Beaumont Cartier. So give me 1 second, I can try to pull that up for you guys. On Messenger, because I'm pretty sure it's in my image history here. But yeah, so that was that's one of I have a friend with like a special affinity for this card. Jake, if you're watching, you know, Beaumont Courier, sometimes good, I guess. I think the biggest thing with this card is just like it gets blocked by everything. So sometimes you play this and you're just like, wow, this is like kind of atrocious. But I will agree that if this card gets hits in, it's like every Affinity opponent's worst nightmare. You just like draw 3 cards. Cool, I drew a Cranial Plating, like you're dead. Okay, give me a second here to look through some stuff. No, scroll further, please. I'm trying to find, we were talking about Beaumont Courier, so I'm trying to find the Beaumont Courier Photoshop, or the Beaumont Cartier Photoshop.
Alright, so we can throw it down to the feature match here.
I'll keep looking. Alright, who are we watching, Dan?
We are watching Shay Straussman play against Xiao Tian.
Okay, so we're going to put, I see, yeah, that's Shay. Shay Straussman here on the left, and Xiao Tian on the right. Do we know what Xiao's playing? I know Shay's on Blue Moon.
I actually have no idea what Xiao's on.
All right, well, then it should be a surprise for everybody involved. But Shay is on Blue Moon, the blue-red control deck that utilizes Blood Moon to lock its opponents out and then kills them exceedingly slowly.
Yeah, Xiao actually top-aided the modern SCG regionals.
Oh, good for him. What do you know what he was running?
No, but I do know he was doing quite well.
Okay. Pretty good, though. We had a couple people, I think we had players in the shop like who got 9th and 10th at regionals.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, decent competition shown by the card market crowd there. But yeah, we don't know We don't know what he's on, and so we will have to find out.
Well, we do know he's probably on the play here.
Yeah, that is a large number to be rolling off of 2 dice.
Strong rolls, strong rolls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so...
Alright, and Shay's gonna take a look at these starting hands.
Looks like Shay does have like a batter skull in the opener.
It looks like Xiao's on Eldrazi.
Bant Eldrazi. All right. Well, who was it in the chat? Dixon Crow. Here comes that Bant Eldrazi you asked for. This deck not particularly strong against Resolved Blood Moon.
No, it's actually I would argue that it's quite weak against Blood Moon.
You are correct, sir. I'll put Blood Moon up in the side for those of you who don't know it. Blood Moon, a sometimes controversial piece of the modern format, but in my opinion, amazing and completely necessary.
Back when hate was real.
Back when hate was hate.
Yeah.
And spells were spells, and blue was good.
This is probably one of the most powerful hate cards in the format.
Yeah, I mean, it's more universally applicable than something that's like actually incredibly hateful, like Boil, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's that's also a hate card back from when hate was hate. And
I make the argument that Knight of Souls Betrayal is pretty busted against some decks.
Knight of Souls Betrayal is pretty busted against some decks, Dan. That is a good point.
But yeah, it looks like we haven't drawn our 6 yet. So hopefully we've got better 6.
All right. Well, chat, I did it. I found the Beaumont Courier. I'll put it right here for you. So yep, that's my face. Along with my girlfriend, shopped onto a Beaumont Courier. That is the Beaumont Cartier for the chat. All right. So just it does exist, I promise. All right. So
yeah, Shout's staring at Ancient Stirrings.
I feel like that's a pretty good keep.
Yeah, and Blue has a Windstripe next to it. So on that merit alone, I think this is a keep.
Yeah, and he's probably gonna take a wild look at his scry. Gonna leave it top. Can't really tell what else he has. But yeah, we will close that out there.
Mm-hmm. Now sequencing a little bit off here. We want to be sure that Shay finishes resolving his mulligans before Shout takes this.
Takes a scry.
Scry. But not too big of a deal.
Mm-hmm. Shay on 5, I'm a little bit worried for him, honestly.
Yeah, because, while Blood Moon is good, it's a little less good on the draw, and it's especially less good.
Shay with 2 lands, a Blood Moon, and a remand? Oh my god, hard keep.
That's about as good as it gets.
Shay also going to be able to fetch an island too? What a player. Honestly, just what a legend, just get all these cards. Now let's see if Zhao knows what he's on. Because if Zhao goes for a shock land, if Zhao fetches a basic here, we know that he knows. But he doesn't. That's a Temple Garden, I believe.
Temple Garden would make sense.
Temple Garden, Noble Hierarch, go. Noble Hierarch gonna have to die if Shay wants to lock Zhao out off of, various colors of mana.
Mm-hmm.
He'll start with a Scalding Tarn. Shay promised me before this match that even though he normally plays lands in front of spells, he would do the opposite to when he's on camera. So we will see if he remembers to do that. Normally he does.
Mm-hmm. Always feels great when you see a Scalding Tarn, but clearly no ball.
Yeah. Zhao gonna untap here, has access to an Ancient Stirrings, finds an Eldrazi Sky Spawner, so he can go... So if he Ancient Stirrings into a temple, he can still play the Sky Spawner.
Correct. He can also just play land and just play Sky Spawner.
Right. But maybe you're greedy. Yeah.
Yeah, we're greedy.
Greed is good. Like double Sky Spawner, double Yavimaya Coast, and one other card that I didn't see.
Yeah, so I'm certainly not thrilled about that, and I think Xiao's hand might be kind of land light, so he might be priced in taking Yavimaya.
Looks like he'll reveal a Sky Spawner.
Okay, so he must have more land in hand then.
I think because he plays like an expedition.
Oh, he had the temple in hand.
Oh, lol. Okay, well that's fine.
Well, that seems fine too.
Sky Spawner, go.
So
Sky Spawner is also really useful because it can make colorless mana.
Yeah, and this, think how different this game would play if Shay was on the play. Right?
Yes.
He'd be able to remand this and then chain it into Blood Moon next turn.
Right, yeah. Play draw mattering a lot with remand in the deck.
Right.
It's so much less good on the draw, especially with no Bolt for the Hierarch.
Yeah, all of a sudden, even if you manage to, remand whatever is played on this turn, and then jam the Blood Moon, the
You're
damage
still taking damage. Yeah,
the damage.
You're gonna take. You take 3 a turn, right? Also, like one of the sort of counters that Zhao has, if he draws a Cavern of Souls, he can just like go ham. So this will be an attack for 3.
Okay.
Shay going down to 17.
So I'm a little surprised that not to see the attack
we did draw the Cavern. Yeah. Oh no, rip Shay.
I'm a little surprised to not see the attack with the
Scion.
The Scion as well. It's for the same amount of damage, but it's much better against like a Bolt.
Right. Yeah. No. If he goes Bolt, then. But it's looking like he's just gonna pass the turn back here. Shay gonna play the Mountain, and I assume just tap out for Blood Moon.
Oh yeah, he's gonna slam this Blood Moon.
I mean, the thing is that Zhao is not really off of spells because he has a Noble Hierarch.
Yeah, so there's a Noble Hierarch and a Colorless Source.
So he can play anything.
Yeah.
Shay really needs to come up with, like, an Electrolyze here. Oh, God.
So there's a Thought Knot. Would have been a little bit better last turn.
Still pretty good this turn.
Still pretty good, though, yeah.
I mean, you do lose your Scion, but you can play the... Can you go... No. Well, no, if you go Land Drop... I think you can play the Scion. I think you can play the other Sky Spawner too, right? No, right. No, I'm wrong. Temple doesn't tap for 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thought Knot Seer, target you. Batter Skull, Remand, and 2 more lands. Interesting that Shay chose not to use that Scalding Tarn in hand unless he just drew it to get another island before the moon came down.
I believe that... Oh, right. There is a Scalding Tarn. Yeah, so a little bit interesting that Shay chose not to get additional blue sources.
And this is another attack with the Sky Spawner. Shay gonna fall down to 13 now. Mm-hmm. The Batter Skull was the take.
Yeah, and I think Batter Skull is correct. The remand, you're just losing to the board right now. The remand...
Losing hard to the board. You need like a Flame Slash or something here. Shay gonna play the Scalding Tarn, swing it back over. But yeah, so now he is just on a 2-turn clock.
3 turn. We can only attack for 12 a turn.
We can... Oh, wait, it's only 6. You're right.
Yeah. It's a little bit awkward, but,
If you play the Sky Spawner here, he is dead.
Yeah.
Okay, so this will be an attack for 6. Shay will fall to 7.
It's interesting. And I like Xiao's no play here.
No play, just deny the remand any value.
Yeah.
I agree.
So Shay has... Well, he had that turn to draw Batter Skull.
Right.
And did not.
Zhao just says, get in. Shay says, take 6, go to 1.
And now Batter Skull's not even good.
Right.
I'm not sure what we can draw into. Well, we got Serum Visions, but I don't know what
Serum
we can
Visions into Flame Slash? No, still not good enough.
No, we need to kill every creature on the board.
Other Serum Visions.
Alright. Now we need a 3 mana.
Draws a Bolt.
Alright.
Draws another, looks at another Blood Moon and another card that I didn't see.
Okay.
That's gonna induce the scoop.
I'm not sure Shay had any outs there.
Yeah, neither am I. This can be like, this matchup is very swingy around, like we said, play draw, and also just like Zhao being able to resolve the Thought Knot through a Blood Moon, just sort of the story of that game.
Yeah, actually, MVP really was it. Well, the MVP I'd say was the Sky Spawner, right?
Giving the Colorless Source, yeah. Sky Spawner very good for that reason.
Yeah. Also very important that Xiao had a turn 1 Noble.
Yeah.
Turn 1 Noble means that you can like kind of unlock your hand. You can play another Noble and eventually get to like mana for Drowner or what have you. But without a way of producing Scions, the Bant Eldrazi list doesn't play any waste, or typically doesn't play any waste. So you can choose to play. You lose pretty much access to Thought Knot and Reality Smasher.
Yeah.
Which are pretty hefty losses.
Yeah. Looking at the sideboard here for Zhao, he's got some number of Natural State, a Stubborn Denial, which is a card I absolutely love in this deck. You turn it on with almost everything, and it's also sometimes just like slightly worse. It's like worse Spell Pierce, but So, you know, this is really good at, like, force spiking a Blood Moon, for example, if you don't have a play on turn 2. Like, leave up blue, Stubborn Denial that.
Yeah, playing it as Force Spike is often fine, and then when it's one man in the gate, it's quite good.
Right, and then also, another spicy card that Zhao has on the board to fight this matchup is Unified Will. This card is actually, like, I'm surprised, I guess, like, there's not really a home for it, but this card, to me, I feel like it should see more play.
Yeah, I mean,
it really is only good in some matchups. Like, if you're playing in another creature matchup, who knows who's going to have more creatures. But in this one, Zhao almost assuredly has more creatures than Shay at any given time.
Yeah, it's incredibly awkward when
it literally,
when
it's literally one blue, Storm Count 1, that resolves.
Yeah.
Or Storm Count 2, that resolves.
And in response to this, also, you know, your opponent can activate man lands, and
sure,
it can be incredibly awkward.
Right, if you have +1 creature, but they have a man land, I mean, then it's just like a bad, or maybe a better mana leak.
It's also weird where all of a sudden you might be able to make their bolts into counterspell. If they start killing some of your creatures, all of a sudden it's like, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Unified Will resolves and it does nothing.
Yeah. So I guess the other deck that I've really seen, like, sort of maybe want this card in the board is Merfolk.
Yes. Merfolk usually is far enough ahead, and having the 2-mana counterspell is quite good.
Yeah. I mean, easier to cast counterspell, not something to complain about.
But yeah, looks like Shay has finished sideboarding already, and we're just waiting on
shortly to follow. Shay having some conversation, probably just like, hey, I mulled a 5, and that was atrocious.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's not forget that it was a mulled a 5, and you know, ultimately, he kind of lost to that.
Yeah, and also one thing though that we sort of pointed out at, like, quickly in passing though is Zhao not playing into the remand and, like, giving Shay more draw steps.
I think it was very good.
I think it's a very sort of, like, a smart play. Like, yeah, you could theoretically, if you resolve another Sky Spawner, your clock is just immediately kill you, but your clock is fast enough, and, like, your clock is fast enough, and you don't want him to draw off the remand, and so I think that's like a play that not every player would make.
Yeah, and you know you're incredibly far ahead.
You're so far ahead.
Yeah, and like knowing the context of your opponent's hand as well, that it was I think it left him with the remand 2 lands.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, that's not doing much. But yeah, gonna shuffle up here, and we're on our way to game 2.
Yeah, this is I don't know, this matchup is just, like, so it just feels super swingy because, like, sometimes they bolt your Hierarch and then they play Blood Moon and then you just lose.
Yeah, I mean, so, like, a very reasonable line is, you know, turn 1 bolt your Burst, turn 2 remand your play, turn 3 Blood Moon. Right, like, this is just a line.
And then you just don't cast spells for the rest of the game.
Right, the band Eldrazi, like, because you have to support Eldrazi tempos, you have to play, like, Yalvamires and stuff, you're very basic light. And that's on top of some of your cards requiring, like, colorless, right?
Right.
A Blood Moon is, like, particularly punishing for this thing.
Yeah. Zhao looking at a hand of Thought Knot, Unified Will, Stubborn Denial, Displacer. Gonna go with a Noble here and take a Pain from that's an old school brushland. Shay is gonna be like, yeah, not this time.
Yeah. So, like, again, this allows Shay to untap and do whatever, like hold up remand or
getting some tempo here.
Yeah.
One of the things with and that's that's always good for the control deck in this matchup. One of the things with Bant Eldrazi is if they don't have a Noble Hierarch, they are often forced, or like some sort of, like, Temple Acceleration or whatever. They often play an extremely fair game of Magic.
Yeah, I mean,
as we see right now, Zhao's just going to play a tap Temple Garden and pass the turn back. Definitely could force, like, a Blood Moon here, but Shay's not going to play into it.
Right. I'm not sure Shay even had a play.
I'm not sure he did either. I just, like, I think he probably would have slammed a Blood Moon and gotten it countered.
Yeah,
there.
if he had a Blood Moon, I think the play is just to make it.
But Zhao into the... Okay, so Zhao is just going to take a Windswept Heath here. Presumably so that he can get a...
Get a basic.
Yeah, like a basic, giving him insurance, basic Forest or basic Plains. Shay does draw the Blood Moon, and now... What do we do?
Yeah,
What do we do?
so, like, again, a very reasonable line is, you know, turn 1 bolt your Burst, turn 2 remand your play, turn 3 Blood Moon. Right,
Right, now he's going to tap 4 mana instead.
Yeah, I will say that that's a Jace.
But that is going to get fetched. Okay, so Zhao is going to have to shock to a Hallowed Fountain for this because he doesn't have a blue source up. But this Jace Architect of Thought is about to eat it.
Yeah.
Shay looks at it in disgust. And now the tempo is all the way back on Zhao's side.
Right. Let's not forget that...
So it's a breeding pool, okay.
Yeah, if we pull up Jace Architect of Thought here. This used to be a really sweet tech against in the Splinter Twin mirror.
Yeah, dude, you just plus and they only can kill you with Pestermite.
It also conveniently, when it pluses, would shrink a Reality Smasher to
not killing its size.
Yeah.
Untap here from Zhao. If he draws a land or has another one, he can just play a Thought Knot.
Yeah.
And Shay will have to deal...
Oh,
he draws a cavern like an animal? Oh my god. So if he plays a Thought Knot, he just gets to like take the Blood Moon, right? Like, you do that for sure. Add Dutch253 in the chat. Hope Zhao plays a Signet or two. I don't know about Signet, but I do think this deck plays, or sometimes will play, how you say, Talismans. Yeah.
Ooh, so Shay sitting there glumly.
That is a sad Shay.
That's a pretty good hand.
Except that Cavern of Souls exists.
Yeah, and all of a sudden the Cavern of Souls makes this hand
atrocious.
Yeah, I think atrocious is fair. I think your best draw here is probably a Bolt.
Just double Bolt.
Yeah, double Bolt is probably the best you can do.
Draws another Mana Leak off the Serum Visions.
Oh god.
Looks at Remand Island off the top. This is like, nope, get this off my...
This was going so well. And then...
Cavern of Souls. And Zhao just drew that too. Like, he didn't even Ancient Stirrings or anything.
Right, but the combination of Stubborn Denial... Ooh, a second of Cavern.
Here's the swing. Shay gonna go to 13, get crunched.
Alright, and we can play... So, Zhao didn't have a Reality Smasher in hand. That much is clear.
Yeah. Not sure that matters, though. Gonna run out of Displacer. Shay says remand that. Zhao says I tapped a Cavern.
Yeah, Shay's just trying to cycle.
Yeah. This is a play you make with 3 mana lot. I think they're just going to talk to a judge to make sure this works, but it does. I will pull up Cavern of Souls here on the right. You know, can't be countered. Remand doesn't care if the spell is, like, actually countered. Remand is just like, attempt to counter the spell.
Okay, so looking at their conversation, it looks like Xiao tapped a Temple Garden,
a
brushland, and a Cavern of Souls. So the default mode on Cavern of Souls is that you want it to be uncounterable.
Right.
Unless you can't cast it in a way that, you know, if Xiao didn't have a white source, for example, and it had a tap for white, then it could be countered. But the default is that it's assumed you're using the second ability. Right.
Also, we missed some follow notifications earlier. Thanks to Swole Badger, Watch Yoback, and Super MTG90 for the follows to the stream. We appreciate you, supporting with the follow and whatnot. And Avpas, I like this in the chat here. Avpas has a little advantage bar, from like the Pro Tour coverage. Advantage bar very far right at the moment, and I have to agree with that assessment. Shay does have a Vendilion Click in hand, so I'd imagine that he's just going to draw step this on Zhao and see what he can take. But the problem is that...
Yeah, Xiao also had could have Unified Will the Bolt. Decided not to.
Now he can just Unified Will the Click, though.
Yeah.
Finds a Noble Hierarch. This does let his Thought Knot hit for more.
But he does know about Shay's multiple mana leaks and other nonsense.
This is an attack for 5. Shay gonna go to 8.
Okay, so he's gonna end of turn.
End step this Click. Zhao is going to be like, well, I can counter this.
Yeah, I like the Unified Will here.
I don't think it's getting better.
I really don't. And that leaves you with a Stubborn Denial?
I think, yeah, I don't know. I think that, the Stubborn Denial is on, though.
So the problem here is you can only do one.
Sure, like if Shay untaps into, like, Batter Skull,
so,
then you have a problem.
So if I was Xiao, I think I wanted to tap that Brushlands to cast the Noble Hierarch.
Yeah.
Okay, and Shay targets
Shay clicks himself, reveals a Mana Leak, bottoms it. I like this. Draws a Snapcaster. So, like, a Bolt, and he can kill this. What did he... Ooh, it's a red spell? It's a Pyromancer. No, it's a Harvest Pyre. Ooh, I like that even more. but it's going to get Unified Willed. Unless there's another mana leak.
So the problem with Unified Will is you can cast Snapcaster.
Oh, wow, that's pretty good. Harvest Pyre, delve my stuff, Shay says. Leave a bolt, Shay. You want that for snap. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, good. Correct delve choices there. Oh, Stubborn Denial, though. Gonna go after it. Shay does have the leak, though. I think he should leak.
He can pay. Yeah, Shao can easily pay for leak, though.
Oh, right. He has the...
and he has a Noble... well, Noble Hire has Summoning Sickness. So shields are down. He can't Stubborn Denial this. He can't Unified Will this.
Well, now he doesn't have blue anymore. Shay decides to attack with the click, getting in there.
I mean, okay.
So, I guess Shay is going to go for, like, the block with the Snapcaster play.
I think he's going to go
but that exposes you to that Unified Will again.
Yeah.
Attack.
Right.
Shay says fetch, go to 7. This is not going to end well for Shay.
This is not going to end well.
See, because Shay, by casting his creature first, is just going to turn on the Unified Will with his creature on the stack.
Yes, the Snapcaster will get Unified Willed. Because let's not forget, Unified Will is counterspell. It's not, negate.
Yup. Oh, Shay, if only you knew.
Alright, let's see. Make sure Shao remembers that he has this card in hand.
Shao remembers he has Unified Will. Come on, Shay. Come on, Dan. Here we go.
Oh, and he has a follow-up Thought Knot Seer.
Shay's like, what does this card even do? Shay reads it, is probably a little bit sad in his heart of hearts, and removes the Snapcaster to the graveyard.
Takes 5, goes to 2.
And
we're going to get Thought Knotted again.
Shay says, cool, have this. Get this mana leak.
Alright, so what is Shay looking to draw?
Snapcaster.
Bonfire would be excellent here.
Harvest Pyre, you mean?
No, Bonfire.
He doesn't play Bonfire of the Damned and Blue Moon Damned.
All I'm saying is Bonfire would have been excellent.
Shay hits 3 lands off the Serum Visions. That's going to do it, extending the hand. Zhao Tian getting, and Avapaz, your advantage bar was super correct. Getting the win. Taking it down. Zhao Tian 2 games to none. Banned Eldrazi over Blue Moon. Just not working out for Blue Moon. The Cavern draws from the Eldrazi deck, particularly punishing. The Thought Knot's really good. And also, the surprising amount of counter magic that Banned Eldrazi has available, just, crucially countering a lot of spells that Shay was able to attempt to throw down. So, yeah, this is... that'll do for that match. But Dan is out of the booth right now. Looking around for... potentially another match as Shay sorts out his boards. We've got an Anger the Gods, a Jace Architect of Thought. Keranos, baby. Yeah. Woo, run it back. Bring it back to when that card was in the main deck. That's not what I wanted. There we go. Keranos, God of Storms. This card's great. One of my favorite cards. I still have mine, just like I still have all my Splinter Twins, but somewhat less playable in Modern now than it used to be when it was just like, in 15% of the decks in the format, this card was literally a main deck card because you just, resolve that Keranos and they cried. I did see someone once, I didn't do this, but I did see someone do this, play Cavern of Souls and put it on God and just slam Keranos for free. And then they won the game. Good. All right. Dan has come back to me with the thumbs up sign, and so that means we are good. So, Dan, who are we watching?
We're going to be watching Bob play against Grain.
Okay. Do we know what either of them are playing?
No, but we do know they are going to Game 3.
Hoo-hoo, for all the marbles.
Yes.
Or in this case, all the store credit. But we shall see. And so they are, so they're both 1-0. And so we don't know what decks they're on. We just know that one of them won Game 1 and, oh God, somebody just hit the camera. Hang on. I gotta go. I'm gonna go adjust that. Close that. Yeah, we gotta look at the. It's not. Actually, it's probably fine.
Okay, yeah, we can adjust the camera between rounds.
Right. All right, and so who's on the left here?
Bob is in the plaid shirt, so he will be
on the right.
Yes.
Okay. Dan.
Yeah, so that like going back to the Shay's match, just super unfortunate draw. The turning point really was getting the Jace Architect that thought Force Spiked.
Yeah, that doesn't feel good.
I think Shay thought that he could cast it in the clear, and then just win off the back of it.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very powerful card. Lots of card advantage, protects your life total, all that stuff.
Right. It did mean that he went shields down for 1 turn.
Right.
But he was okay with that if he could resolve the Jace.
If the Jace resolved, it's super powerful.
But having the Jace countered and then giving your opponent
the free Thought Knot.
Which admittedly you couldn't have done anything about because it ended up drawing the cavern. But it's a little more manageable if you have an active Planeswalker.
Absolutely. Pull up Jace Architect of Thought again. It just like you get to like mini Factor Fiction with it. And that's pretty powerful.
I'm sure there's a card for that.
What, the minus?
Yeah, what card does the -2 ability?
So the -2 ability is Factor Fiction with 2 less cards.
Yes, but I feel like that in itself is a card.
I don't think that's a card. Chat, if you know, let us know, because I don't know if that card actually exists. That card seems like it would be pretty good. And there's that card would be insane.
Well, it would depend on how much it costs, right?
Well, but if it costs 3, I'd play the hell out of it.
Yes, 3 is just better divination.
Right. So but if it costs 4, that's how much Factor Fiction costs, right? So and that doesn't exist.
Sure. So I guess it would have to cost 3
or less, which would be the best card advantage spell ever printed.
Well, there aren't very
other
many.
Than Ancestral.
There aren't very many 2-minute draw 2s, right?
Yeah,
on the black thing.
And AV Pass, thank you for resetting the advantage bar.
Yeah. SO63 in the chat here is not a card, and I'm pretty sure SO63 plays Legacy, so he knows. So on the right here looks like we have some amount of Tron, yes. And on the left here we have some amount of Faithless Looting and a Hallowed Fountain? What is happening?
Oh, there was a Storm player in the room.
Oh, he's on Storm. Oh my goodness. Amazing. Scalding Tarn, crack it.
Alright.
Storm. After the banning of Gitaxian Probe, I didn't know if that existed anymore.
I'm not convinced that it's great, right? Like,
I mean, I'm not convinced it was great after they banned Seething Song, but doesn't mean not to play.
People tried to make it a thing.
Shout out to I mean, our buddy Jake played a lot of Storm, to varying degrees of success. I've lost to it at GPs, and Graham is going to start things off with a Faithless Looting. Cantrips.
Yeah, the problem with the Storm deck was always that you really needed either Electromancer or Active Ascension, and that was not trivial to have.
Oh, very much so. Gonna discard 2 Faithless Lootings to the Faithless Looting. Goodness. Relic of Progenitus, the draw here for Bob. Pretty good.
That seems quite good.
But instead he'll fire off a Sylvan Scrying, that nice fancy promo art, doing some work.
Yeah, so we're looking at now a turn 4 Tron. Which
yes.
Not terrible. This also guarantees that Bob finds a land drop next turn.
Ooh, Thing in the Ice gonna come down.
Okay.
And Graham looks like he wrote down that he was going to 16. Yeah, gonna just get an Island here. Incidentally, huge fan of the life total being written in a place where I can see it, just so I know exactly what's happening. So yeah, Bob should probably do something about this Thing in the Ice. This card seems pretty good.
Yeah, without Gitaxian Probe, it's not going to have. You're not going to have
you need to have Manamorphose.
Right.
Manamorphose is really good at flipping this card. I played a little bit of Thing Ascension back when Ryuichi Tomato was smoking GPs with it. Bob does draw a Spellskite, so that is a play for him. One of the things he can play Spellskite Relic this turn. One of the cool things about the Tron deck is when you board it after board, you just play Spellskites in there. You know what doesn't get bounced by Thing in the Ice?
Spellskite.
You got it, Dan.
You know what doesn't block Thing in the Ice very well though?
Spellskite?
Correct.
Blocks it for a turn.
That's about as much as you can say about it.
Yeah, but, it could be worse, right? It could be not a Spellskite. It could be a star or something. I also don't know if Bob actually has the Tron lands.
And if
this could be bad.
If he doesn't, this turn, I mean, turn 4 Tron is acceptable.
I think Graham also has a Wear Tear in hand, so like this could also be not great.
So it's interesting that Bob decided not to run out the relic, in case it got destroyed.
Oh, well, oh my.
Oh, he's gonna.
Nature's Claim. Graham back up to 18.
Well,
we
not
tried.
playing the relic seems brilliant now. Although to be fair, with the forest, it just doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. So Bob draws an O Stone. Might want to put that into play. Yeah, I'm thinking that's good.
The O Stone's fine. Another play that Bob could have made was Relic, Crack Relic, try to hit the 4th land.
Sure, but what is your 4th land doing?
It can turn on Tron.
Theoretically, I mean, sure.
And all of a sudden, that means that you have 5 mana.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Graham, looking at casting potentially a Wear Tear here, needs to make sure he taps red if he wants to kill the O Stone.
Yeah.
But this card, Wear Tear, very, very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you tap red mana.
Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and inform them of that. This is an illegally cast spell, so nothing messed up here.
Assuming, yeah, there's no enchantment to target either, so. Alright, that'll take care of the O Stone. Dan with the speed here, gonna get out there. Maybe do something about this, Dan. Alright, we did it. The island and the steam vent's gonna get tapped instead. Where / tear. Okay. Where? Nope. Hang on. There it is. Wear Tear split or fuse card, destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment.
It feels pretty great when you get to fuse it.
Against Affinity, I have literally done the kill your cranial plating.
And your gear bar integrate?
Yes! Yes, it's like, you're just like, wow, like the value town. I'm living in it. Remand here gonna get cast on another O Stone. That thing in the eye is getting perilously close to turning into a 7/8. Mm-hmm. 7/8s are pretty good.
Yeah, and Graham still has 3 Faithless Units in the graveyard.
Right, so he can, potentially, he can go like Bolt, cast, ooh, wow, Pyromancer's Ascension.
Ooh.
Pretty good, but doesn't get Thing in the Eyes closer to flipping. I would be actually, unless you're sure you're going to kill him before Bob plays the O Stone and cracks it, not 100% on board with the Ascension here, but like maybe you're just YOLO enough to do it.
Yeah, I mean,
Wham!
We could have flashed back a Faithless Unit and bolted, right?
Yeah, we're going to get to Serum Vision's Bolt anyways.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So
draw a card, draw an Ascension, scry 2, Blood Moon on top.
I like the Blood Moon.
I like it. You're telling me.
So, Bob,
So flip this thing in the ice and let's go attacking. Bolt you.
Alright, so if I was Bob, I would definitely redirect here just to take...
Redirect to Spellskite, take 2, go to 15 instead.
Yep.
And that will flip my Thing in the Ice. And it will become an Awoken Horror. And, yep, it's a horror. This is an attack for 7. Bob's like, well, my life is hard. Goes to 8.
Alright, so Bob really needs to find the 4th Tron piece. The 3rd Tron... he has a map, but this is just going to be too slow. He needs to naturally draw it.
Yeah, because the problem is that next turn he gets Blood Moon and loses.
Right. He needs to... No, absolutely. He just needs to naturally draw it. Mm-hmm. And it looks like he didn't. I must have missed him actually going to draw stuff.
Yeah, no, he drew the map.
Yeah. So the map's going to be pretty good in...
draw and crack relic here.
Yeah, in shutting off Ascension shenanigans.
Sure, but...
But unfortunately, we found multiple maps and...
no lands.
Yeah.
Here comes the moon. It just is going to roll right off the top of the library for Graham.
Also, Bob was kind of priced into making a block here.
100%. No Nature's Claim this time from Tron, and here comes the 7/8. Yeah, zip, get that Spellskite out of here, go.
Alright, so Graham's got a Metamorphose of an Ascension. He can cast neither, so we're just going to have to pass the turn over here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what Bob can do is he can hope to find a Nature's Claim and just get a Tron piece here. because I believe that is his only out. He doesn't have another land in hand, which means that at no point will he ever be able to, because he also needs to draw Nature's Claim, right?
Right.
Like, this is all contingent on him drawing his Nature's Claim to blow up the Blood Moon. But then we also have to deal with this thing, and if we don't have the mana, we're not going to be able to deal with the thing. So we find the third Tron piece, play it.
Bob looking at the top of the deck to see if that would have been the third Tron piece. It wouldn't have been, but it was a Tron land,
Yeah.
so we were close.
So if we have a Karn in hand, this is good to top deck Nature's Claim.
Yeah. But it has to be...
There has to be a Karn in hand, because we have to draw the Nature's Claim first.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, if Graham finds another bolt, the game is just over. Right?
Yeah. I mean, like, we're in the territory now where Bob needs to get, like, extraordinarily lucky.
Like, insanely lucky, yeah.
And it looks like he has an Ulamog.
Yeah, he has an Ulamog in hand.
Don't...
Draw a step. Well...
Draws the card. Okay.
Doesn't have the claim, though.
That's fine, though. This means that we have...
Another turn? Sure.
Yeah.
Plays the map, passes. Untap here from Graham and the draw. Draws a Thought Scour.
Mm-hmm.
Nifty little card. This will be an attack. Looks like Bob's going to go to 1.
Was that a remand that... Oh, that's
a Thought Scour, yeah.
Okay.
Graham needs to... Yeah, okay, so we're going to go 2 mana for this Manamorphose here.
I think I like...
Ascension.
We're going to play Ascension, sure.
Then you can go Manamorph... I mean, I like Thought Scour Manamorphose more, but just going to pass the turn back. So Bob is, like, on... If Bob draws Nature's Claim, I'm pretty sure he wins the game.
No, not necessarily.
I guess Graham draws Bolt.
Let's not forget, he's at 1, and Graham just needs to find a Bolt. I don't think we can crack this.
I don't think we can either. I'm not 100% on the forest there.
So, how do we kill this thing?
Well...
Are we in, like... top deck Spellskite Jump?
I mean, you could play, like, Llanowar Elf.
Because, like, we're just dead to the...
Yep.
Draws a Scrying.
Well, I'm
pretty sure we're dead here, right?
Yep. Scrying things. That's going to do it.
Okay.
Graham McDougall on Thing Ascension. Going to get it 2-1 over Bob on Green-Red Tron. Well played there. Blood Moon. Blood Moon is an insane Magic card, folks. You know, we didn't see it to its full effect against Bant Eldrazi, but we're seeing it to its full effect now against Tron. And, you know, if Bob gets to resolve a Karn or an O-Stone on that board, the game is over. Like, let's not kid ourselves right here. Like, it's so hard to beat that as the Thing Ascension deck, unless you just, like, draw your burn like a champ. So, yeah. Seeing Graham's sideboard here looks pretty standard, you know, Wear Tear, Stony Silence, Path to Exile, Blood Moon, all very good cards. Path to Exile specifically for, like, Ulamog or Wormcoil Engine, you know, especially, it's super good, especially against Wormcoil. Like, I very much like it there. You know, and then Bob going to the board here, Relic, Nature's Claim, maybe that was it for him. He's probably got some more. Okay. So deboarding here, yeah, so it looks like more relics, Nature's Claims, etc. Other things that Graham has in his board, you know, standard Thing Ascension things, some Rest for the Weary, which is just like a life gain card against burn, because you do a lot of damage to yourself with your lands. But yeah, so, you know, in the match that we watched with Shay, right, not a whole lot of, you know, Blood Moon would have been great, but ultimately didn't turn out to be great.
Mm-hmm.
Thing Ascension versus Green Red Tron, Blood Moon was awesome.
The second Blood Moon was great, yes.
Yeah. Like, wow. Yeah, the first, it is fortunate that he drew that second Blood Moon, because I really think he would have had, like, a very difficult time without it.
Yeah, so, I think Bob was, going to be at 8 mana. I'm not sure if he actually had an answer. He had an Ulamog in hand.
Mm-hmm. Just playing Crack Stone.
Also fine.
Yeah, like
Also
he didn't.
fine.
He didn't have like a proactive like I am kill your land sort of
But-
threat.
but,
But
like,
he had like a stop your whole board threat going
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Once we're at that territory, can't really do a whole much. It's just Bob's hand just kind of came online a little bit too slowly.
And I mean that happens with that happens sometime with Tron. You don't. Your synergies don't always come together, and you're missing that third Tron piece for way too long. We're gonna throw it back up to the booth for just a second here. So
It looks like there's about 10 minutes left in the round. So,
okay, 5.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and
Okay.
take like a 5-6 minute break here. We'll put up a timer. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We'll be right back.
Yeah, 5 minutes, no longer than 5. We'll be right back.
Create your own website with a free trial at squarespace.com and save 10% with offer code SoundCloud. Make your next move. Make your next website.
Jack it up. Jack it up.
And we are back. Actually made my timer for once this time. Here, MTGCardMarket Modern Wednesday. So the last round, I believe I saw the last match slip being taken to the front, so we should be getting pairings soon. I have no idea where Dan is, but that's fine. You know, we can just chill here, chat with the chat, see what's up. Yeah, so again, if people have requests for stuff that they want to see, we can definitely try to find it in the room. You know, if people are doing well with it, we're definitely happy to put it on. I saw walking around, I saw some elves, I saw some Grixis, we know there's Jeskai, and Dan has pairings! What a legend! Alright, so, the legendary Dan Dwan with the menu from which we shall order a tasty round 3. Oh, that's Grixis versus Jeskai. I love it. What else we got? We've seen... I think we got to go with that one. The first one we looked at. Yeah. Alright. Dan's going to hop out of the booth. Teddy. Pure Steel combo. I don't think the Pure Steel guy is here this week. No, he's not. We've had him in other weeks, though, so if you go to our YouTube channel, MTGCardMarket, you can definitely find some stuff with... I believe it's the guy, I believe his name is Lawrence Doria playing Pure Steel, and getting some just insane wins, you know, on like turn 2 or 3. So yeah, he was here the last couple weeks, not here this week, unfortunately. And breaking and entering combo, is breaking and entering combo the one that plays the expertises? I don't think anyone's on that. That list looks super spicy. Like, if I were a habanero pepper, I'd be jealous of that list, because it's like, it's so cool. You get to play all these, you know, you get to cast free spells, you get to get 2 for 1 by Remand, like all this good stuff. No big deal. Yeah, I would be... Ooh, and Swole Badger, any Bant Reliquary Knight combo. I don't know if there's any Nightfall. I think there's at least one deck with Knight of the Reliquary, though. We can definitely try to have that as something we look at for the last round. Let me see how Shaper's doing. Yeah, so depending on how that player's doing, we shall see. Yeah, Teddy Jr. carries Zev's expertise in Goris, and it's just like, oh my god, run! Yeah, okay. It makes sense that it's not all the expertise. That seems a little crazy. But Carry Zev's expertise, like, might be low-key playable, especially if, you know... I've also seen a lot of people saying, like, you can play Carry Zev's expertise on Living End, which sounds cool, because then when your Living Hands are in your hand, you don't have to, like, suspend them and be a sad, sad person.
But then sometimes you draw the Carry Zev expertise, and you look at it, and it's like, wow, this doesn't really do very much.
Well, I mean, unless you have a Living End in hand, you're literally just playing, like, 3-mana Threaten, so...
Hey, you can always hardcast the Living End. You just suspend it.
Ugh, it feels bad, though. I mean, most decks don't have a good way to put a lot of creatures in the graveyard, but it's still just like, ick. Alright, so we're going to throw it down to the play overlay. Got some players shuffling up here. Oh, wow. Okay, so I actually am going to go...
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and adjust the camera.
Can you start resetting the names and stuff?
Yeah. So this matchup is going to be Paul Green against Vincent Adinolfi. Vincent on Jeskai, as he always is. But Vincent will be, Paul is on Grixis, I believe. So it should be a good old-fashioned slugfest. And, excuse us as we kind of mess with the camera and get it back to...
Did that fix it?
No.
Let me see. Okay, so it needs to go out towards Paul a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Alright. And we're just going to take a moment and fix the layout. Looks like Matt's having a little bit of difficulty with his camera. We're casting in a different room, so we have to go back and forth trying to adjust it.
So too far this time. Back in towards the wall.
Correct.
Jesus.
All right, looks like both players are keeping 7 here, and I'm gonna tag out with Matt.
Tag team, go.
In our quest
so
to adjust.
So you need to rotate it towards Vince a little bit. Yeah. Okay. All right. SO63, please do not swear in the chat. Especially at other people. Yeah, camera is tilted just like I am tilted. But that's not going to matter. Paul Green is, I believe, on Grixis control. Oh, Dan, what a god. Okay, it's a little bit better. That looks like it's probably close enough. Paul's going to start out with a Shock Myself, Fetch Shock Myself, so go to 17 as I get these overlays set here. Play a Serum Visions. Draw Scry 2. Looks like we're going to go double bottom with that. Get this. Start this. Alright, Vincent is also going to shock himself. Going to start off at 18 here. Get this match record set to 0s. And pass a turn. Vincent, not playing Serum Visions in his deck, most likely holding up a Spell Snare for a 2-drop that Paul might have. I'm not sure, though, if Paul's going to oblige him by playing into that. Yeah. So Paul is considering Grixis control for various events that he's thinking about going to, and Vincent is playing Jeskai because that's literally the only thing he's played since 2013. Paul going to get an island here, so putting himself to 16. One of the things that becomes relevant in this matchup is the burnout plan. You know, where, like, I burn you out with some stuff, but, you know, Thought Scour flips double Ancestral Visions, draw a card. This could be a turn 2 Tasigur. And it will be here from Paul. Good job on the camera, by the way. Dan's back. Tasigur going to come down. Vincent's just going to go bolt you.
Yeah, so did you...
Paul going to go to 13.
Did you see Vincent's hand?
No.
It is a 1-lander.
He drew a Colonnade.
Oh. Never punished! Never punished!
Yeah. Teddy, rotating the table is somewhat out of the question just because it would cause the players to play at a weird angle. Vincent says bolt you again. So we're going to go 10 for Paul, and Vincent is like low-key just going to burn him out.
Yeah, Vincent kept triple bolt Spell Snare Electrolyze.
He drew another land, by the way.
Jesus.
I think he drew another land. It's on the, it should be, yeah. Oh, he drew this.
Never punished. Never punished.
Hey, Dan, if you're going to be this salty, it's okay. He's going to path the Tasigur here. This clears the way for him to keep bolting face. Does Vincent have Lethal Burn in hand?
He's got at least he's got Bolt and Electrolyze in hand. That's 5.
I think he has a Helix too. That's 8. Wow. Yeah, so he's almost just going to kill Paul here. That Fetch Shock that at the start for Paul, possibly going to be costly. Draws, yeah. I think, I couldn't tell what it was. Vincent just going to untap and draw a card. Okay. Vincent is off just like the bolt you ever turned. Oh my god. 3 lands in a row. Dan here is just like inconsolable in the booth. Like
1 lander. This is turn 4. Still haven't missed a land drop. And it's not like we Serum Vision or anything.
Dude, he's on your team for Baltimore. Why would you be mad that he's not punished for this sort of thing? Oh,
this seems like kind of a questionable keep, though, right?
Oh, it absolutely does. Seem like
because all you want to do in this matchup is just hit land drops, right? And we kept a 1-lander and triple bolt, none of which really do anything.
If Paul's on Delver, it's fine. It's actually not fine. But Vincent has a 5th land in play. Dan is losing his mind here, guys. If you feel badly for Dan, press 1.
It's never punished.
You sound salty about this, dude. Like, all these flavors? Oh my god. It's great. Like, you know, why would you hate on this?
Yeah.
This is just a man playing Modern. Oh my goodness. I do agree though. The keep scene's questionable.
Yeah.
Noxora does not feel bad for you. End of turn, Vincent says Electrolyze face, and Paul's just like, well, unsure about what to do about this. Might want to fire off a Remand if he's got one packing.
Yeah.
Or a Cryptic Command even.
So
oh yeah, he's get that Cryptic Mana going.
Yeah. So Remand. Vincent has a
Spell Snare.
A snare in hand. So
Paul's just gonna run into it. Hold on. Wait for the Wait for the 2-mana counter spell from Paul. Paul also, by the way, like, is very, very good at Magic, and is like 100% aware that Vincent is like trying to burn him out. Right? Like,
oh, absolutely.
he knows.
I would have been a little bit suspicious about the double bolt play.
Yeah.
So to me, that tells me two things. Either Vincent has all 4 bolts in hand, or was trying to cast a card so he wouldn't have to discard.
Yeah. Oh, no, so it will be a Cryptic command to counter the Electrolyze there. Vincent draws another land.
Has topped like 5 land in a row from a 1-lander.
I mean, if you're good, that's what you do, right?
I mean, I suppose so.
Vincent animates Colonnade here and attacks, and it gets Fatal Pushed. Oh, God, that's so bad. Paul's just like, yes, allow me to deploy my Fatal Pushes on your Colonnades.
One of the few targets in this deck.
Yeah. Paul now has Snapcaster Cryptic up. Vincent with more burn. Paul goes end of turn Snapcaster. Vincent says Spell Snare that. Get out of my house. Paul's like, well, it's kind of hard to fight over Spell Snare unless you have, like, Dispel. Right? Like, remanding Spell Snare is not particularly good.
Yeah, we can pay for a mana leak.
Yeah.
You would need, like, Syncopate for 4, which is, still not good. Yeah, so this is just going to happen.
Unless Paul wants to do some...
Unless Paul wants to, like...
I think he has a Counter Squall. I think he's thinking about firing off the Counter Squall, but then he's also afraid that, like, he could get burned out. He's just going to let it go. I think he's thinking about fetching here. Notably, I think Paul is in a better position, except that Vince just, like, has him sort of on the ropes with the burn.
Yeah, so the Grixis deck has 0 ways of life gain.
Yeah, I also like Teddy's suggestion of if he has a remanding his own Snapcaster, like, that's always the play.
Right, absolutely. And I think, given that Paul didn't make that play...
He doesn't have remand. Because Paul is, like, very good at Magic. I don't know what
that looks like a Dispel.
Yeah, it looks like the World Wake Dispel. No, it's another Cryptic. Okay, so Cryptic is very good at keeping Paul from dying to burn. Vincent draws. His hand is Path, Bolt, Helix.
So
sort
of there.
We're not there, though, because Paul has all the counter magic. Draw step for Vincent.
Yeah. We have reached a point where we have missed a couple of land drops, though.
Snapcaster Mage. Probably targeting... targeting Thought Scour. Okay, just cantripping here.
Yeah.
But now, once a Thought Scour, Vincent is going to Helix Paul in response, and Paul needs to, like... He doesn't have Cryptic up. This is the problem. Oh, wait, he could just die!
Yes, Vincent has Lethal Burn in hand.
So Paul needs to Counter Squall here.
Yes.
Or Counter Squall, like, the next one or something.
Oh,
wait, no, Vince doesn't have a second White Source. He can't kill him.
Oh, right. Did he tap... Oh, right, he lost a Colonnade.
He lost a Colonnade. Vincent goes to 16. Paul goes to 6. Thought Scour resolves. Paul draws a card.
Did they only mill 1 card from that?
No, there's 2. There's one. There's another land under the Terminate.
Sure.
Vincent gonna go to 14 now. So, like, Paul's in actually a pretty good spot to, like, close this game out. Vincent is close, but I don't think he's gonna get over the line.
Yeah. So Vincent, if Vincent can draw a Spell Snare, he has lethal.
No, there's a Cryptic thing in Paul's hand. Paul has another Cryptic.
Does Vincent not have multiple burn spells?
Wall of Omens. He has 2.
Okay.
Wall of Omens is pretty good, though.
Wall is pretty solid. You can't really afford to fight over this.
And the fact that there's a Snapcaster down. It will get Fatal Pushed, though.
Yeah, I mean...
That's the really only use for Fatal Push. I like that play a lot, actually.
It's clear, like...
And Paul thinking about going for a Colligan's command as well. So flip 2, draw a card. Draw...
I believe another land?
No, Spell Snare.
Ooh.
Draws a Spell Snare.
Quite
which
good.
is really good against Vince's Lightning Helix Burnout. Draws another Cryptic. I feel like Paul is just going to close this game with Snapcaster backed up by multiple Cryptics here.
Yeah, so Paul hasn't hit enough land drops where he can, like, go full ham and, like, have multiple Cryptics up.
He's close. He's only 1 off.
Right, but, like, having spells there,
Vince draws a Cryptic of his own.
Yeah, it's just when you're behind on land drops, all of a sudden the Cryptics become atrocious.
Yeah. Great image. So Vince is playing the Jeskai control deck. No Nahiris, just the combo of Kiki Jiki, Mirror Breaker, and Restoration Angel to make Infinite Angels and kill you.
Yeah.
Draw from Paul. Okay, double Cryptic online. Let's go.
We have 6 blue sources. There's no way we have 6 blue sources, right?
Yep, we do.
Ooh, and the Path to Exile on
Snapcaster. See, the problem here is, like, if Paul fights, he can just die.
I don't... I hate having to make this play, but I think it is the correct play.
For Vince?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is too.
Because you don't want to use Burn on the Snapcaster because Paul is so low.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not going to deal with the Snapcasters, like, you have to eventually deal with this, right? It's getting close to being a lethal threat.
Absolutely.
So you might as well do it earlier than later.
Yeah. No, I definitely think it's, just sometimes a necessary evil, the path there. Vincent going to untap and draw a card. Notably, hasn't really run his burn spells into Paul's counter magic, knowing that Paul probably has, like, a stocked hand that, like, hopefully at some point he'll tap down low enough to fight over. Kolaghan's command here, going to target Snapcaster, make you discard a card, and now I think Vincent, has to sort of seize the moment and go for it.
Yeah, so, okay, Vincent has 6 land. He needs to resolve a Bolt and a Helix, but can't
Paul has Counter Squall Spell Snare. So, like, I don't think Paul dies ever.
Mm-hmm.
But Vincent's going to try. Oh, he's going to try. Oh, ooh, I like this play so much.
This is...
The bait leak. Snare that. Okay. Now, if you're Vince, I don't think you can Cryptic into that much mana on Paul's side of the table. I think if you're Vince, you just maybe try to just, like, kill him. Or at least you fire off the Bolt and see what happens. Oh, or just go for the Cryptic. This gets counter-squalled, though. Or just Cryptic back. Yeah. Vincent going to go to 10.
So, Paul's going to have to...
and so much card advantage for Paul.
And Vincent, looks like Vincent's going to have to discard.
Oh, yeah, he needs to... or maybe... Ooh, Bolt you, says Paul. Bolt you, says Paul. Vincent goes to 4. Snapcaster, Bolt you. And Vince is going to scoop it up. Yeah, so we missed some life loss somewhere, but... Wow, so Paul turns it around, steals the game back from Vincent with the burn.
Yeah, so Paul kind of turned the tables on Vincent there. And, I mean, this really has to boil down to Vincent's very questionable keep at the beginning, right?
Yeah,
This
absolutely.
is not the matchup where we want to keep a one-lander. Ended up not being punished for it, but as a result of that, had to fire off the early bolts and, like, never was able to hit enough land drops to, like, actually start fighting on the same axis that Paul was.
One of the problems is that with this Jeskai deck, the Kiki Resto version, is that you're only playing like 1, maybe 2 Cryptics, and that's just not good enough.
The thing with Cryptic though is, when it's good, it's great, but a lot of times it's incredibly poor.
Right, and I mean, well, but the thing is the Grixis deck does usually play 4, so it's just like a different philosophy. The other thing that draws people to Grixis, right, is Fatal Push is really good, but also the Tasigur on turn 2 play is very, very good.
Yeah, or even later in the game, you play Tasigur for 1 mana and you are guaranteed the delve, guaranteed the activation.
Yeah, exactly, and then then it just replaces itself.
The activation a little bit strange on Tasigur, costing hybrid blue or green.
Right, yeah.
Now, I've never actually casted for the blue half of it. I've always been using the green portion of it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this deck is going to use the blue. Yeah, so I'm looking for chat if we can find a, okay, yeah, like a sort of a sample list. So this is something close to what Vince is playing tonight. This actually might be almost exactly the numbers he has. I think he's like -1 wall or something. Okay. Here you go. Oh, and Teddy pointing out that Vincent was at 8 there and he didn't discard because Paul decided to burn him with the Kolaghan's command and put him to 8 so he could bolt, snap, bolt.
Oh yeah, Paul had 9 points in hand. I think Vincent must have known that if you're shocking, right?
Yeah.
And
then you're gonna try to burn out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he went for the Cryptic because he knew that otherwise he was going to die, but Paul had the lands and the spells to deal with the Cryptic.
Right.
The Grixis control, just like against this version of Jeskai, is just I think it's favored because of Kolaghan's command shenanigans, and also just like more main deck Cryptics. Whereas like the Jeskai control is probably better against like obviously against Burn because of Lightning Helix and stuff, but also like stuff like Abzan Company where you know, infinite life doesn't matter, and you can, and like you have better blockers and whatnot. So it's like it's a trade-off. Like basically, Paul's just a slightly slower control deck, and that's gonna, I think, probably be that leads to a favorable matchup for him.
Yeah, Culligan's Command is Snapcaster Mage.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it does some pretty disgusting things.
Yeah, like, again, just multiple Culligan's commands in a row is just so much card advantage. Even though it's like, you know, your opponent, they get to pick what they discard and stuff, it's just too good.
Well, I mean, especially if you're ever able to, like, buy back a Snapcaster and then you just snap it back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's just so much, like, value built into those cards. Especially if you get to replay a second time. Like, Culligan's Command kind of guarantees a 2-for-1 in of itself. But if you, you know, if you get Snapcaster, all of a sudden we're talking, like, 3-for-1.
For sure, for sure. Okay, so shuffling up, going to game 2 here. Vince looks like he has more than one land. Looks like maybe 4 lands in the opener. I mean, I feel like you're just trying to make land drops. If you can get punished if there's an early Tasigur, but other than that,
well, also on the play, Vincent, you know, can have mana leak that turn 2 Tasigur.
That's true.
Dixon Crow, thank you for joining us. We will see you next week.
Yeah. It looks like Paul also mulliganed to 6.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
this matchup, not too punishing on the mulligans.
Right. It's once you go to 5 that it really starts to matter. Because it's like, this deck is not one of those decks where, like, you need that, like, critical mass of 7 cards to really do something. But once you get to 5, like, even though Paul's on the draw, like, Vincent will just be up so many more cards that he'll be able, you know, he'll be more likely to make his land drops.
Yeah, it's also, like, you know, once you go to 5, you kind of have to keep, like,
really sketchy stuff.
The fringe hands and
the 2 lands, 3 spells, and then you never draw the 3rd land sort of hands.
Yeah, you know, almost like, you know, the best 5-card hand is just 5 lands.
Yeah, this is true.
All right.
I've kept 5 lands, 1 spell in this matchup before.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jeskai versus Jeskai, but like sort of the same thing. Looks like Paul is happy with what he has. I see a Snapcaster there. So he will draw a card. Oh, and Scry to Serum Visions to the top. That'll help him a lot with setting up his. Oh wow, and he has an Ancestral Vision. Very good turn 1 play here. Obviously, what you want to be doing when you're the Grixis deck. So we'll pull up Ancestral Vision on the side.
Yeah, and the Ancestral obviously a great way to like get ahead in this matchup, and no one's really playing any way to fight it other than, you know, Freeman is pretty good.
Freeman's decent. But like, here's the thing: is what I've noticed with Ancestral Visions in this matchup, and I guess Paul is like, this sort of helps him because he's on a mulligan or whatever. But he theoretically, you know, if Vincent doesn't do anything and Paul doesn't do anything, and they both just play lands, the Ancestral Vision can sometimes be like draw 3, discard 1.
Yeah, but like, you know, this deck plays enough like bolt effects and stuff that you would just pre-bolt your opponent.
I mean, you're right. It's just like you have to think about that in advance and set it up.
Yeah, we saw Vincent do that last game where he pre-bolted his opponent on the chance that he didn't draw a land.
Right, but then he drew 6 like an animal, so it's okay. Paul gonna fetch into an island in Serum Visions here. Looking at the top 2, has a Fatal Push in hand. You know, can kill the Wall of Omens, I guess. I just like. And the thing is that Fatal Push is so good against Colonnade, and that's such a powerful win con for Jeskai that I do like leaving it in.
Yeah, also, like, you know, you can... The Fatal Push on Wall just feels so bad. You're trading a real card for a card that already cycled.
Yeah. Vincent gonna fetch again here. Gonna fall to 18. Maybe lower. No, he'll just get the island. Vince, notably without a red source in play. Might matter at some point. He is pretty far away from the triple red mana you need to cast Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker. Which is, you know, one of the haymakers he's hoping to swing with. He'll take this time to resolve a Vendilion click, though, and I like this play.
And
getting to see the hand is very important. We're going to take a look. Fatal Push, Snapcaster, 3 lands. Wow, I think it's Snapcaster, not close.
Yeah, I think it's Snapcaster, not close. Absolutely. Paul's going to have the mana to cast everything. The Fatal Push... I mean, the Fatal Push, yes, is going to kill your...
Yeah, he can go fetch. He can go fetch, kill the click, but, like... YOLO. Oh, he takes the push.
He takes the click.
Oh,
he takes the push.
Well, I guess leaving just the Serum Visions in the yard is like pretty bad for.
I mean, if I'm Paul, I'm not like terribly upset about having to.
Paul draws another Ancestral here to snap Serum Visions.
Yeah, snap Serum. I'm like perfectly content with that.
I just think that like it makes the wall makes that play so much worse. If that makes sense.
Yes. Well, does it?
Yes. Because your Snapcaster, like, theoretically, when you do that with it, when you do a Snapcaster Serum Vision at sorcery speed, you do that because you can not only like get a little value off the visions, but you also do want to pressure, and you can't do that into a wall. So, I'm not a huge on board with that. Paul will suspend another Ancestral though, so he is about to draw a lot of cards.
And Vince is gonna need an answer for this in
couple turns. This is an attack though. This click is a real clock. It's one of the preferred control finishers sometimes for the Miracles deck in Legacy. Vince will shock himself here, put him down to 16. Still doesn't have Cryptic online though, and that could prove to be a problem. Ooh, wait, no, is he gonna Tech Edge?
Can't Tech Edge. Only
he's gonna tap 3 mana and he played a Finks. Okay, so he's at 18. Finks is really good against Grixis, actually.
Without Path to Exile, it's hard to get rid of this cleanly.
Finks is one of the cards that has definitely the stock of Finks has risen since the printing of Fatal Push because not as many things even just kill the front half. And now Paul will snap Serum Visions. Just get that out there. Draws another Serum Visions with his Serum Visions. And one of the things that Paul needs to be careful about is Vince does have a Tectonic Edge. So Vince can take him off theoretically a color if he so chooses. I guess Paul does have a fetch land in hand, so it's not as big of a deal, but it might matter. It's something that he should be concerned about. Like if he used his last fetch land to get something that wasn't a black source, I would be like, yikes. But Paul not playing into that.
So Paul kind of giving Vincent a clear turn here to do whatever he wants.
Yeah. Vincent should probably get Cryptic online. That's my firm opinion.
Right.
As a Magic player.
But once this Ancestral resolves, we're gonna be in a little bit of pain here.
Bolt your Snapcaster, get it out of the way. I mean, yeah, but you're on the clock is fast.
This clock is pretty real, and Paul is gonna have to deal with this.
Paul will go to 8 here.
And the reason that we're even in this situation is that Vincent took the Fatal Push.
Right.
And I think, in retrospect, that's actually pretty clever because if Vincent knew he couldn't answer these Ancestrals, the Fatal Push is much better. Yeah. At least now there's an axis on which you can fight. Whereas before you would fight on the same axis and you were very clearly going to lose that one.
No, I think taking the Fatal Push is right because the graveyard is unstocked and Paul does have the ability to enable Revolt. Like if I looked at the hand and I didn't see a fetch land, I would be much more thinking about taking the Snapcaster because it's so funny to see your opponent sit there and just be like, I am sad.
All right.
And this is going to counter draw. This is huge.
And it's good.
That's the crazy part. So the thing is that now Paul has to answer.
I think Paul just drew a
Collective Brutality.
Collective Brutality. Sure.
This kills the click. It also probably looks at Vince's hand. Collective Brutality, discard 2 cards. So he's going to do everything.
Yeah, he's going to do everything.
15. Put Paul up to 10.
Yeah, I think I would rather have the 10, the 2 life.
And Vince says you can't take any of these.
Okay.
So that whiffs. So, but I also don't know if those lands were getting any better for Paul. He's got a bolt, so he might have to fire that off on the Finks just to save himself some damage.
Yeah, the problem with that is that Restoration Angel is so good against that play.
Oh, I mean, and the thing is, a Restoration Angel is good at any point from now until ever against that play.
I mean, worst case, Restoration Angel just draws you an extra call from wall, but
on upkeep, bolt this, fine, bing. Vincent goes back up to 17. Lots of life total changes.
Yeah, pretty heads-up play here. This prevents the Finks from attacking.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Prevents, and is done before Vincent, gets a draw step in case he draws a Cryptic or something.
Yeah, or as you said, a Resto.
Yeah.
So Vincent probably just going to slam this next wall here. Why not? He's thinking about how he wants to tap mana. So he'll tap that in the Tectonic Edge. Wall of Omens, Paul says go. Vincent looks to get a card here. Plays a Flooded Strand and passes it back. So Paul here looking to recover off this Ancestral Vision super duper hard.
Yeah, it looks like Vince is kind of flooded as well.
I think Paul drew a Colligan's Command. That's kind of insane.
K command, get back the Snapcaster.
Hell yes.
Yeah. So
kill the Finks forever. Get back the Snapcaster.
Right. Unless Vincent has Restoration Angel, in which case your world is just completely blown out.
I mean, it's over. But
yeah.
But he's just gonna send it back. K command operating at instant speed, obviously important. And he's gonna do it in response to the fetch. Love this play. Responding to fetches is so powerful.
Yeah, so this prevents Vincent from playing the Restoration Angel.
Does he have a resto?
Well, I mean, he could have
I think he's got a remand.
Okay.
He just says remand that, draw a card. That fetch will resolve. Go to 16 here.
Technically, the fetch was already in the graveyard, but he even puts it in order.
Dude, don't
he
even
puts
hate
his graveyard.
Don't
in
even
correct
hate
order.
on my boy Vince. He knows what's up.
So so I think Vincent really would have preferred saving that remand for the ancestral,
But saving the Finks is kind of good too.
well, I mean, if you don't save the Finks,
What are you
Paul
doing?
just gets the Snapcaster back again, and just does the song and dance again.
Right? Yeah, Snap Cryptic, pretty good. Vincent, oh yeah, this is it. This is what I was talking about. He takes him off of black mana, and I don't know if Paul has another black source in hand. This might draw him into it though.
I mean, draw 4 is pretty good, right?
I don't know if he drew a black source. He draws another ancestral. I don't think. I honestly don't think he drew a black source. Oh my god, he pitched both of the fetch lands. I said if he was out of fetch lands, this was a super heads up play. Vincent, just hearing this, Vincent is also extremely judicious with his tech edges. It's very impressive, honestly.
All right, thought Scar.
Yo, if you hit
has
the
a redraw.
oh, he does it! Oh my god, Vincent's just dang it! I tried so hard. Not gonna happen this time.
This is a prime opportunity for Shadow of Doubt, though. Shadow?
No, there's no shadow of doubt. Paul does put himself to 7.
Okay.
Conveniently in Colonnade bolt range. I don't think Vince has that. I think Vince is looking at lands in his hand.
Yeah.
I think he just has actually mountain land.
Yeah.
But he does have a Colonnade online next turn, so get it. Paul suspends this Ancestral and will pass it back. I assume going for the Snapcaster Colligan stuff, during combat probably. Vincent will draw. I didn't get a good look. But I think if you're Vincent, you go aggro with your Colonnade.
Yeah, Paul has a K command. So if you attack with the Colonnade, it means that Paul can't deal with both creatures.
Yeah. So, but here he'll just go, shock your Finks, return Snapcaster. I think Vince might have forgotten about this Colligan's command and is punching himself for not attacking with the Colonnade.
I think Vincent really needed to attack with the Colonnade here because this was a free attack.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I mean, if Paul doesn't deal with it, then you just get in for 2. Okay, so this explains the no attack.
A Johnny Vengeance on the table.
All right.
Let's go.
So Johnny's gonna say, "Nice black source."
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I love me some of Johnny Vengeance.
All right, but
I think Paul might have actually gotten back a Fulminator Mage with the Colligan's command. I think we're gonna see it here. Yep.
Yeah, so Fulminator would be a way to permanently deal with the Colonnade.
And Paul's got another fetch, so everything keeps coming up Paul here. But he'll pass it back. Vincent will fetch in a turn. Yeah.
No reason not to. We're not particularly close to getting burnt out here. Now, it's also worth pointing out that it's very likely that Vincent boarded out quite a few of the bolts and helixes in this matchup.
Yeah, they're just not as strong, and we've got to wonder, what will this Fulminator Mage can theoretically pressure the Ajani and also kill the Colonnade. There's a lot of things that it can do. So it's a very strong card. Just kill your Colonnade is so good against these Jeskai decks that really rely on them. Vincent drawing a ton of lands. I think he's got to make him sack the Fulminator here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it doesn't feel good, but you sort of gotta, right?
The only downside is if Paul has a Fatal Push,
then you get
then your
punished.
world is completely ruined.
Okay, Vincent pluses on the Swamp again, and I think he's just gonna send the turn back. Paul gonna fetch to 6. Paul does put himself in range of Bolt plus a Vincent draws 3 mana Burn Spell or Snapcaster or something, and then Helix is with the Ajani, and the Ajani Helix is super I don't think Paul's playing Trick Bind or something to stifle that.
Right. So I think what might happen here is Vincent might attempt to block with the Colonnade.
Sure, and then make Paul sack it.
Yeah.
That Swamp, Vincent makes sure that Swamp is tapped, Ancestral Visions rolls down again. The problem is Vincent wants to end this game quickly before this gets too out of hand. Tar Pit the draw, though. Ajani is so good against Tar Pit when you have the Ajani first. You're just oh, nice Tar Pit. I'll plus on it.
Yeah, Vincent no longer able to lock Paul out of black mana.
Yeah. Paul gonna slam that Tar Pit on the table.
Yeah, all Vincent really wants to do is draw one of his Sphinx's Rev or like. I don't think he's seen a Restoration Angel in either game.
Yeah, no, the resto would be insane here. Paul says go, no attacks. Vincent draws.
The attack does nothing because we have 2 wall.
Oh yeah,
walls.
what are we talking about? Those cards do block.
Completely forgot about that.
Vincent does draw another Colonnade. Play this Colonnade. So the problem is that like Paul actually has another Kolaghan's Command in hand. Ooh, click here. He's gonna just see lands, I think, unless Vincent has like a path or something that he's been sandbagging.
All right, so looks like the click resolved is gonna path and response.
Get it out of here. Yeah. I mean, I think he's going to see the 2 lands that Vince is holding and just be like, okay. But Paul with a Kolaghan's Command can theoretically recur this Fulminator Mage again.
Yeah,
He can go sack on Colonnade, sack on. But also, you know what's weird is like Vincent, I guess the Tar Pit like being in play does matter because Vincent can't just go a Johnny minus.
Right.
Draw Step is another Tar Pit. Wow, that's so good for Paul.
And the second Tar Pit's going to be quite good. And I mean, we have to keep in mind, Paul is just dead to Bolt.
Yes. Kolaghan's Command, return Snapcaster, redirect to your Ajani. Pretty good.
This is going to buy back another K command, which is pretty gross.
Yeah. Plays another Tar Pit and passes. Vince literally just has to draw Bolt to win.
Or Snapcaster, right?
Oh, I mean, yes. There are a lot of draws that he can draw to win.
Restoration Angel is also pretty good.
Resto just to blink the wall, you mean? And then
Just
force
to
Paul to have the removal? Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Vincent untaps. Draw Step.
Sphinx's Rev would also be pretty good here.
I don't know what it was, but he seems... It might have been a... Yeah, I actually can't tell. I'm just going to stop guessing. Vincent thinking about Colonnade mana. Land something. Plays a mountain.
Yeah, so Paul knew about this mountain because it was revealed from the click.
Yeah. Gotta wonder what you do with the Ajani here. Because it's just going to die to Tar Pit, right?
So...
Animate Colonnade. Attack. Paul probably just going to sack the Fulminator. Yeah, now he can recur the Fulminator with the Snap command. Vincent probably going to go minus on the Ajani.
I kind of like the minus, right?
I do too, because Paul can double Tar Pit you.
Yeah.
He says Helix you. Paul doesn't really have any other option but to go to 3 and Vincent to go up to 18.
And Paul is kind of priced into animating both Tar Pits and sending them at Johnny.
Because if there's another path,
because if there's a path, I guess like Vincent
no,
can't.
it still dies.
Yeah.
Ancestral Vision comes off suspend.
Yeah.
This is big.
Oh, that's
Fatal,
a push.
double fatal push.
Okay.
Counter Squall as well. Wow,
Counter
Paul
Squall is excellent.
I think Paul's advantaged now.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that happens when you resolve.
Draw Force.
Yeah, your 3rd ancestral.
He cryptic one.
One
got cryptic, but still it's 2 Draw Force.
Yeah. Well, draw 3s, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but they just like on that turn you have drawn 4 cards. One of them in your draw step, the other 3 because of ancestral. Yeah, this is just definitely advantage bar very far towards Paul.
Yeah.
Here, I'll make an advantage bar for chat.
Yeah, I think the counter squall was really what is going to end up sealing this.
All right, there you go, chat. There's your advantage bar. That's how I feel about this match right now.
Is there still Snapcaster in the graveyard as well?
I think it's just the Fulminator.
Right, because Paul's gotten back 1 Snapcaster, and I think there was only 1 cast this game.
Yeah.
But that Snapcaster has a Snapcaster K command, and Paul, like, this is like infinite value.
Yeah.
Paul just needs to be careful that he doesn't tap out of this counter squall.
Right. I mean, he's got plenty of black sources up at the top there. He's going to send 3 at Ajani, and Ajani goes down.
And counter squall is just straight negate, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Negate, lose 2. Bam. Got him. Don't know what the draw for. Vince draws another land. Jeez.
No, this is the same. This is the same land revealed off of.
What else is in his hand? Do we know?
No. Oh, he's had 2 draws since he's been clicked.
Okay. I just didn't know what he drew, but that's a Scalding Tarn and another land at the top there for Vincent under the glare.
Yeah, so Vincent's seeing about half the lands in his deck. I mean, the deck does run,
25.
25, 26-ish. So, it's a lot.
Paul draws a cryptic, too.
Yeah, this game is rapidly spiraling out of control.
And he's so close, he just can't slam the door. Sort of like the first game, honestly. Animate Tar Pit. Send it at you. Vincent says, Electrolyze. Ooh, target your Tar Pit. This probably gets counter-squalled, though.
Yeah, I can't imagine Paul letting this resolve, if only just to prevent the draw.
Yeah.
And Vincent obviously very pained about this because, like...
Paul just lets it go.
Yeah,
Vincent gets a draw card.
Okay. I guess, like, there's another argument that there's no reason, like, tapping mana and fighting over this.
Right.
When, like, there are real threats coming that, you need to fight over.
Vincent gonna fetch out his last Shockland.
Yeah. It's just with the advent of Fatal Push, all of a sudden these colonnades are so poor.
It's so good. Like
before they were incredibly good.
In this matchup, Colonnade used to be God.
Yeah, because it had to be terminated.
Yeah.
It was so difficult. Now, like, one single black kills it. Forking the damage, not great because because Tar Pit is a 3/2.
It is a 3/2.
Yeah. But yeah, this Vincent has drawn half his deck without seeing a single resto, which is a little bit unfortunate, to be frank.
Yeah, I mean, a resto here, assuming it resolves, just ends the game because I don't know if Paul can turn on Revolt.
Yeah, Paul might actually want to play Fetch Land out and keep it back just to
if
be able
he
to
has
turn
one.
it
Yeah.
off. Yep.
Animate Tar Pit. Send the attack in. Vincent says path it. All right. The problem for Paul here is that he doesn't have Counter Squall and Cryptic. He only has 5 untapped lands, so if he fights, Vincent will win the fight.
Right, and it just, if you fight over this, you're just dead to so much, right?
If you tap out of black, you die to Colonnade.
Yes, so you can't tap out of black, obviously, right? But if even if you try to, like, anything short of Dispel.
He has a Logic Knot.
So Logic Knot costs at least 2. So we've got Counter Squall up, and that's about it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this has to be Logic Knot for 9.
All
which
right.
he does have.
I mean, we've got more than enough. All right.
But, wow. That's like the biggest Logic Knot I've ever seen in my life.
It's pretty big. It's kind of a...
Oh. Oh, let's go.
All right, the counter...
Let's go. Oh, my God.
Counterflux just saying, well, this is happening.
Yeah.
And now Paul can't fight over this anymore.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So
This is some counter war, old school style.
Yeah, so Counterflux, a card that's really kind of faded from popularity.
You don't really need the Overload anymore.
Yeah, the Overload used to be good, All right, like 20 copies of Grape Shot in the stack. Let's counter all of them.
Get there.
Also, you see a lot fewer of these mirrors nowadays. This is always,
Absolutely.
having the final word in a counter war is always nice.
There's always last word.
All right, so if Vincent,
well, Paul's got black up.
yeah.
Zap.
So Paul's hand
Before attacks.
before attacks.
Wait, but if Vincent has a leak here, he just wins the game.
If Vincent has leak, he wins the game because Paul tapped his only black source.
Yeah, no counter squall.
No counter squall.
Have it. What is in his hand?
I mean, presumably something, right? Else this is like the sickest sorrow.
Ah! That's gonna do it. We're going to a game 3 here. Blue Red X versus Blue Red X. Vincent Adinolfi getting game 2 with that clutch, turn 30 mana leak being good.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know why I bothered trying to get a backup match. There's no.
That backup match probably played like 3 matches by now, honestly.
Yeah, there's a 0% chance of us like leaving this match. But no, this is like a really interesting games.
This is just these matches are so cool.
Well, I mean, so I think the most important play Vincent made was he took the Fatal Push over Snapcaster. That defined this game.
You know what's crazy is like Yeah, that's the crazy part. It's like
That was what defined this game. Because,
one more Fatal Push on that colonnade.
Yeah, no, because Vincent was able to just chip in for enough damage, get Paul to like 9, and all of a sudden
Got to 8 with the creatures, yeah.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden that's enough that like Paul was able to recur like a ton of nonsense with Call Guns command, right? Like, and Vincent didn't draw a single payoff card the entire game.
Yeah, and he just grounded out.
He didn't draw a Rev, didn't
Vincent
even find a
is,
resto.
Honestly, like Vincent is one of the the decision of Fatal Push over Snapcaster there. Like, Vincent is so good at Magic. It's like it's hard to explain because if you talk to him about it, it's like he just like this seemed like the right play. But like the matrix, like the heuristics that you have to evaluate to say that is the right play are like they're just like I don't know. He's played so much Jeskai.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And
you're gonna have fun sitting next to him at Baltimore.
It's difficult to say. Like, right, like there was no clear answer over whether to take the Fatal Push or the Snapcaster.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that was definitely.
But one of the problems with this deck is if this is anything like games 1 or 2, they will draw.
Yeah, this probably needs to go a little bit faster. SO6 3, that's your second strike. Third strike, I will time you out for 10 minutes. All right. Paul gonna fetch here. We'll see. He goes for an island, respecting the burnout plan a little bit more now. And suspend Ancestral Vision. Good card. Vincent tapped Colonnade. That's what he wants to be doing this game.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like Vincent has the Ancestros. Oh god. Oh god.
This is so many cards. But if you just play lands, it's fine. This is a Wall of Omens? Yeah.
Alright.
Card advantage.
The nice part about having 2 Ancestros, like one away from each other, you can just tick one down too.
Yeah. Paul gonna play a fetch lane here. Does have Logic Knot up now.
Yeah, we're quickly getting to the point where if we don't have a good way of fighting, bad things are going to happen.
Flip Brutality, flip Fatal Push, draw.
All right,
draws another Thought Scour.
I mean, considering he has a Snapcaster in hand, that just seems just fine.
Yeah, no, I think that.
Well, one thing I might have preferred to see is for Paul to fetch. One thing that can't happen is if you Thought Scour yourself.
If you know your fetchable targets, it's actually a real problem with Grixis.
Right, and if on the rare chance it happens, you feel so silly, and all of a sudden, like you just have 2 less land in your deck that are like crucial. So all of a sudden you're like, especially when Vince is on like playing on tech edges, he can tech edge you out of non-basics of a color.
Yeah, that's a bad feeling. Again, so like Vincent, Tech Edge is actually kind of insane again here. Take you off black, but with 2 Ancestrals, I'm not sure you want to go for something like that.
Yeah, if Vin...
Oh no, it's not take you off black. There's a Watery Grave. It's Watery Grave, Blood Crypt, Sulphurfall's Island.
Right.
So it's actually not good.
Yeah, so if we can't deal with these Ancestrals, we're going to be...
Paul's just going to have to discard.
I mean, he can fire off, like, random nonsense, right?
I don't know how much random nonsense he actually can fire off, to be honest with you.
I mean, this Logic Knot is just going to be counterspell.
Presumably.
Are you gonna Snapcast their Thought Scour?
No. No way. He's actually, he's thinking about it. I guess this does, like, mean he'd have to discard one for Vincent's probably gonna let this resolve. Again, Wall of Omens. Like, sometimes this Snapcaster can actually be very dangerous. But this Wall of Omens making it less so. Cast this Thought Scour.
Alright.
Add Dugongs in the chat. Neither of these players look like they're having fun. Dugongs, I think they're just playing very, very quickly, or trying to play quickly, and that definitely does make you look stressed. Because there's a lot of, you're trying to finish this match without drawing. It's definitely, like, the way that the prize structure works, you definitely want to win this match.
Right. The drawing is very, very bad here. Even more punishing than normally would be.
Yeah.
And if I'm in Paul's seat, like I feel like I'm so far ahead.
Yeah, like you've got a lot of stuff going on in your hand. I'm gonna have to fetch here to 17.
Also important to note that I should always get this attack with the Snapcaster in.
I mean, Vince will auto block, but it's worth it. It's worth a shot. Yeah.
It also means that your electrolyzers all of a sudden can like
kill a wall of them.
Yeah, and that feels not
right.
terrible.
Yeah, like I mean, you saw it.
Also the K command.
Okay, maybe this gets remanded. Ooh, oh god.
Dispel.
Vincent, the heavy artillery coming out. Paul choosing whether to logic knot or to counter squall. But Vincent could, I believe Vincent does have a remand, so like this is going to happen. I think that
if it's a remand, it's the full leak. Leak is fine too.
Oh yeah, because you can remand your own dispel.
Remand your dispel, then dispel again.
Yeah. So yeah, Paul unable to resolve the kill your wall with the Colligan's command. Good play though. I like the definitely worth taking the risk of firing it off. You do tap out, but like also, unless Vincent plays a Johnny here, you're not super punished.
Yeah. Also, like even if you don't have it, you should make the play to keep your opponent fair.
And it also lets you like you don't care that you're losing these cards because you get to refill.
Yeah,
you have an ancestral coming off.
And the
suspect.
thing is, nowadays.
Oh, ref for 2. All right.
Sure, it's a lot worse than ancestral, but
like, oh well.
Resolve it while you can.
You need to resolve it while you can. Yeah. Gonna draw 3 cards here: Cryptic, Snapcaster, Spell Snare.
So the big thing is Paul also had a read that Vincent didn't have Keranos, right? Because that's the play that really punishes you.
No one is playing Keranos anymore.
Right.
Like
which used to be the haymaker back in the day, right?
Of course. I think Vincent actually is gonna let this attack happen here.
Okay.
To the 16.
He doesn't want to lose the wall of.
I mean, if you drew a resto, I can totally see why.
Yeah. Also, like now the wall just dies to like any nonsense, and there's just no way you can protect it. And the block is just as good next turn, anyways.
Right.
So if
Paul does look like he's gonna have to discard here, unless he can play a land or something.
I'd be shocked if he can't play land.
His hand is low. I think he has a mountain.
He's got like 8 cards in hand.
Yeah, dude. They're all good. They're all non-lands though. Do you know? And fires, right?
Yeah, I believe Legacy has been firing like on every Thursday.
Yeah, we have a pretty dedicated crowd. All right, so Paul does play a mountain here. Yeah, but I still think he has 8 cards. Maybe he just has 7. Hard to tell.
It's just like, I mean, he can fire some of it off, right? Like he can just K command discard shock you.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, he's gonna he's gonna mill you. Oh yeah. Ooh, mills a click and a resto. Oh my god, best thought scour. Now he's gonna play a click of his own. Gonna look at a hand of triple path bolt and a land.
Wow.
Well, Paul is never killing Vince, but I also don't think Vince is ever killing Paul.
So the first resto, the first Sphinx of the game we see. Sphinx is only for 2.
Yeah, I know. This just feels so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, Paul's just like, okay, take your path.
and Paul really... So Paul took the path over the bolt because he wanted the click to be bolted.
So he can command it?
So he can command it back. So it looks
Vince
like...
might have drawn an Electrolyze, though.
The Electrolyze would be pretty good if he wasn't so incredibly far behind, though.
Soup.
Alright, looks like
that's going to pick up your click. Drawn. Yeah. I think there's another remand for Vince. Or not another remand, but just a remand. Paul draws another Ancestral. Good lord.
Yeah, this is just so painful to try to battle back from. Because you're down double Ancestral.
Right. Vince blocks. Never be afraid. 3 mana.
This is a
K command.
Feels like a K command.
Go for that. Swoop. Press undo on Moto. He needs black up for counter squall. Swoop. Vincent says fine. He returns click to his hand. Gonna get to click again at some point. Draw a step. Draw a card.
And
draws a counter flux.
And the problem with the Jeskai deck is really like without like haymakers, it's hard to go over the top.
Yeah.
Right. The way you used to win is you just drew more cards than your opponent, right? And
Right,
eventually
but
just
these
out-research them.
Ancestrals.
But like, there's no way you're gonna outdraw Grixis, or at least Paul's hand.
You're
right?
not going to outdraw Ancestral Visions, Grixis, I agree.
Yeah.
My God.
So which means that like, eventually you're the one running out of cards.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
No, this is why I said this matchup isn't great.
You just never have an opportunity to resolve like a big Sphinx's Rev or anything like that.
Yeah, or
Your
like,
colonnades are pretty terrible in the face of Fado Push.
yeah, I agree.
And K Command is a guaranteed 2-for-1 and is one of many spells that you want to counter.
K-Command buying back Snapcaster is so good.
Yeah. So it's it's very, very grindy, but just like the Grixis elements seems to just match up a lot better. And it looks like based on the hand gestures, they might be in turns.
I think they must be.
And in light of that, it's pretty much impossible for either players to get there.
Paul's not going to do it in 5 turns.
I mean, he would need all 4 bolts and then some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's thinking.
Yeah, well, this is round 3, so we do have a final round after this.
Bolt your Snapcaster.
Yeah, and I think Vincent is on full survivor mode now.
Mm-hmm. Can't win. You can draw.
Mm-hmm.
Just like 2 incredibly grindy games.
Yeah, the draw. Like if you're going to lose, the draw is a lot better than a loss. Ooh,
Paul
that's-
says, I think I'm crypticking this. And then he
Well,
says, I think I'm not crypticking it. Oh no, he's going to go Snapcaster first. Vincent has Counterflux, remember.
All right,
Snap counter squall.
Paul choosing the counter squall so that
Drains Vince a little bit
yeah,
more.
try to drain Vince a little bit.
Paul can now cryptic the bolt with no fear though.
Well, except the spell.
Vince already used it this game.
I mean, it could be 2, could be
There's-
3.
Guarantee there's not.
I can certainly see 2 dispels though.
Sure. Paul is
Paul's got
like-
another.
He's got like a billion counter spells in hand here. Just the triple Ancestral Visions, or like the double, the fact that he's resolved 2 draw 3s is just so insane. Just like his hand versus Vince's hand is nuts.
And I believe this is still on Paul's turn.
Yeah, it
So Vincent gets a full turn to. Well, unfortunately, there's not much he can do. There's just no punish card anymore.
Yeah, there's no.
There's no like if we fight a war on your turn and then I untap, I win, right?
Right.
The closest you get to is Sphinx's Rev, and even then, this is a Rev for 4, maybe 5.
Click, target you, double path. Bottom one of your paths. Draw card. Go. Vincent untaps, we'll draw. There is a judge at the top of the scroll. This is turn 4.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Sphinx.
Alright,
Gain
so
life.
uh,
So I don't think Paul can kill him from 17 here.
no, I don't think there are any. Well, there are cards in Magic that could, right? But it would need to be a series of cards.
Serum Visions is probably not part of that.
Probably not. No.
So if to kill someone from 18 from here, you'd have to have like... Paul shows him the hand of blue cards. Vincent shows him the hand of a cryptic and a
All right,
white spell.
and now they're having the will you concede discussion.
I don't know. Vincent sort of stuck the hand out, then pulled it back.
Oh man, I don't know what that means.
I think, no, it's a 1-1-1.
The 1-1. Okay.
Paul wrote on the right side of the slip. All right, that's going to do it for round 3.
Yeah.
Watching some great Blue-Red X versus Blue-Red X
Right,
Magic.
the game 2 was very, very interesting. It's unfortunate that, like the nature of these matchups, like neither
draw
player was
sometimes,
playing
yeah.
slowly,
They just drew. That just
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, and the price structure being the way it is, the loss is extremely punishing, whereas the draw, at least, like, you're playing for,
You're playing for 301.
yeah, playing for 301, which is still, like, a reasonable payout. It's, like,
Yeah.
40 something in credit.
It's pretty decent.
Yeah.
So yeah, last round for these guys is going to be important. We'll do some overlay resetting here, and then...
Yeah, we'll take a minute here. We'll step outside, make sure this is the last match.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll do resetting on the overlays. Whew. Yeah, but that is that's some magic right there. Just grindy control. I don't know. It's just one of those things that happens with these decks. As someone who plays a lot of these decks myself, like it can be frustrating, but it's sort of the price you pay for playing the deck. And you know, the thing is that these mirrors are not mirrors, but like, you know, other blue matchups are slightly rarer than than they used to be. You know, there's not a lot of like these decks are not like, you know, running around and lots of people are playing them anymore, at least. Obviously they had their heyday, and the Burkhardt Grixis list I think is still probably pretty good, but in terms of like actual just straight Jeskai control like Vince plays, there's not a lot of popular sort of acclaim around the deck right now. Who knows? Maybe Vince will like win the Pro Tour or something with it. I guess he can't win the Pro Tour anymore. Maybe he'll win a GP with it and people will play it again. But yeah, so, you know, just battling back and forth for the 1-1-1. We are going to get... Should be getting... I guess Dan is looking for pairings, looking at the round timer, that sort of thing. We'll throw it back up to the booth now that the overlays are all reset, though. So, yeah, coming up on round 4, if anyone has any requests, we can certainly look around for it. Definitely not... you know, definitely willing to listen for, you know, other requests and stuff. We've seen a lot of, you know, we saw like Bant Eldrazi, we saw some Tron, we saw some Storm, which was awesome. We saw Blue Moon, we just saw Jeskai Grixis. We saw Amulet Titan, which was really cool in the first round there. I feel like that deck's like quietly sleeper, really good. Pos, if we have a, let me look at our pairings here. Who plays Burn still? All right, Dan has pairings.
Yeah, we got our final round pairings
And
here.
Did you grab a match?
So it looks like our 3-0 table is Alex Perez and Xiao Tan.
That's a Bantmere?
Yeah, so this would be a Bantmere.
Okay.
And then...
That's Grixis versus whatever Scott's on.
Mm-hmm.
What about... That's Amulet again. Do you know what Stafford's playing? We had a request for Burn.
I'm not sure what Stafford is playing. We'll definitely get the 3-0 match
Okay.
As our primary
As our
match.
primary,
We'll,
yeah.
Figure out the backup.
Yeah. So, this should be interesting, actually. I don't know if we've seen a Bant Eldrazi mirror before, but, it's like... I actually have no idea how it works. If anyone has insight on the Bant Eldrazi mirror, let me know, because I would be more than happy to listen to what you have to say. I imagine there's a lot of things about, like, Noble Hierarch being really good, because you let your creatures attack through theirs and whatnot, but, again, I have no idea how to play Magic, so... At least with or against those decks. So, yeah, we should be looking for the backup. I think we were going to try to get the Burn deck as our backup, but the 3-0s definitely want to put those on for the last round. The winner, whoever goes 4-0 here, goes home with, I believe, $65 in store credit. So, if you're one of the 4-0s, then like A+, you know, it's like 3/4 of a Scalding Tarn or something. We will throw it down to the play overlay, hopefully get our, yeah, there we go. Players come to the table, and we'll start the round timer. Ambiguous, any Super Friends. So we actually did have a guy here, his name's Simon, who used to play Super Friends. He doesn't play Modern as much anymore, but he at one point was like a very, you know, would just bring Nea Super Friends to the to Modern and just jam with it. You know, like Sylvan Caryatid and Mindstone and like Elspeth, some Garrick stuff, some Chandra stuff. So yeah, we're gonna get Xiao Tan versus Alex Perez here. Bant Eldrazi versus Bant Eldrazi, unless something has drastically changed since I spoke to Alex. I'm assuming he's not Eldrazi.
Yeah, we got Bant Eldrazi Mirror, and then for backup we have Greg Schaefer, who's on Absent Company playing against Graham, who I believe is Tron?
No, Graham was a Storm guy.
Oh, okay, that should be interesting. I almost wish we had that match.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So yeah, both players though banned Eldrazi.
Actually, if chat's so inclined, we can swap them.
Yeah, do we want to watch the banned Eldrazi mirror chat? Tell us quick though. Banned Eldrazi mirror or Abs & Company versus Storm. Definitely
A thing that I start.
a thing Ascension, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think I will
Just
to
go.
Audible. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Dan, grab me a water. Okay. All right, so Dan is going to audible out. We're going to give, yeah, so Teddy wants to swap. We're going to get the swap. Just for the sake of diversity. Swole Badger wants to swap. All right. 2 swap, Abs & Company. I actually don't know. I think Schaefer is on a Company deck, but I'm not sure it's Abs & Company, but it's probably something cool with Company, because Schaefer's, like, pretty good at Magic. Goes to the Pro Tour sometimes. Yeah, so here we go. So it's going to be Graham and... Oh, so close to the camera. So we're going to get Graham and Greg versus... Oh, that's Greg right there, giving y'all a smile. That's actually good, Greg. This lets me get the overlays going. So is Schaefer on actual Abs & Company?
Yes.
Okay.
He's playing the card Collected Company.
But he's
and-
also playing, like, Knight of the Reliquary, I thought.
Oh, yeah, I guess that is true. It might not actually be Abs & Company.
We're going to go with something Company, because I was talking about, like, Tireless Tracker and stuff.
There's definitely a tireless tracker in it.
And Graham is on Thing Ascension. Bum, bum, bum. So I played a bit of Thing Ascension back in the day. By back in the day, I mean a couple months ago. But Thing Ascension is a really, really enjoyable... Thing Ascension is a really, really enjoyable deck to play. With Gitaxian Probe, it was really actually, like, it was stupid good sometimes.
It was so stupid when you Gitaxian Probe, then, like, into another probe.
Dude, well, the dream was on you play Thing on turn 2, and then on turn 3...
Flip it on turn 2?
No, well, you could do it on turn 2, but that's, like, really, really rare. No, what you do is on turn 3, you go Probe, Manamorphose, double cantrip, flip swing. I mean, you get blown out by Abrupt Decay and Path and stuff, but who cares, right?
Alright, and both these players are 2-1, so, you know, we're playing for,
Some amount of credit here.
yeah.
I actually don't have the exact numbers because I don't remember them. And we have the purple sleeves mirror. Yeah, so Greg definitely on something with Knight of the Reliquary as well as Noble Hierarch. And I also see Birds of Paradise. And is that I think that might be. It's either a life counter or a storm counter.
All I can say is that this Noble Hierarch never had a chance.
Oh God!
This is the first Noble Hierarch is dead, as are the second and the third.
Oh man, does he ever? Oh yeah, he has a Spire Bluff.
Okay.
Oh God, this just is a bolt. Zorch, get off my table, he says. Off a Spire Bluff too means he's taking no pain. I love Spire Bluff Canal, by the way. Great land. Like, thank you, Based Wizards, for printing these. I definitely picked these up like as a pre-order.
I don't know, like the pre-order was like $10 though, right?
I got them for like $5.50. It was good.
Which is like they're still like at that price.
Yeah. So gonna go with a Pyromancer Ascension here instead of bolting the second bird. Ooh, wow, this is sort of greedy because you're trying to get the value of like getting an Ascension counter here.
Yeah.
But I don't hate it. The thing is though, is if Greg plays a Knight,
it's just like on 3 mana, the only thing that like he can do with the living birds that he couldn't otherwise is Coco.
That's
right?
true. That's true.
Which admittedly is
It's
a pretty big,
powerful
It's
effect.
a pretty big deal. But like if he was gonna Coco, you're just setting him behind a turn, and then once you have this Ascension going, like now we're like really going.
Yeah, the Ascension being on, making your bolts double bolts is super legit. Is that a mainboarded Rest for the Weary?
It looked like it. Also, Graham also has Faithless Loot in hand, so...
So Greg gonna fetch, put himself to 15 here.
Yeah, this is like... this is something.
I didn't even realize mainboard Rest for the Weary was a thing.
It's not a thing, right? There's no way this is a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Knight of the Reliquary going to come down. This knight is bulletproof because there's a Ghost Quarter.
Yeah.
Pass it back. Draw a step is a Manamorphose. Pretty good. First gonna Serum Visions. Oh wow, like a champ though. Rip the Scalding Tarn. Flip over Visions of Beyond Thought Scour.
Okay, we're a little bit far from. I mean, the Thought Scour is nice if you have an Ascension, right? The problem is once this knight is out of bolt range,
which it is right now.
Yeah. Like, we're really hard pressed. If we had a second bolt in hand, what we could do is bolt it, force him to Ghost Quarter, and presumably he's gonna Ghost Quarter you, right?
Maybe.
And then you can play a second bolt.
I guess.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Graham could also kind of be greedy.
Oh, he's just gonna go for it.
Yeah.
So Greg is gonna have to choose to save his knight here. He also, I think he is remembering he gets a trigger for Ascension. Yeah. So Greg is gonna choose. I don't know what the context of Greg's hand is here. He might not want a Ghost Quarter, and he might just let it die.
Yeah. I mean, the Ghost Quarter does set you behind quite a bit.
Ghost Quarter your Spire Bluff though.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna Ghost Quarter something, that is the target you choose, right?
And Graham, I think, is also gonna fetch here just to like save time searching. So he'll be at very least 19.
So this lets him Manamorphose.
It does. So he's going to go to 17. Yeah, it does actually sort of give him an extra mana this turn, doesn't it?
This also looks like it might be Rest for the Weary.
But why?
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
no, it's Helix. Okay, he'll go back up to 20.
Sure. And this was a really heads-up play. Greg, like, if Greg didn't play the fetch, Greg could have made the play of Ghost Quarter myself.
Yeah. Get extra lands.
Yeah.
Alright, so the draw here, Greg does have a Scooze, which he can play with a mana up, which I kind of like. One of the other cards in Greg's hand is a Path to Exile, though, which is pretty bad.
Yeah, like...
3 mana, though. What are we going to see? Oh, he has a Courser of Crewfix. Amazing.
Yeah.
Standard All-Star, and I do mean Standard All-Star Courser. This card used to be like $20. Do you remember those days?
I don't think it ever hit 20.
No, it was up there.
But it did get up there, yeah. It was just so good.
Go.
It also lets you randomly...
God.
Sure. So Corsa also the king of GRVs. Like right here, Greg needs to reveal the top card of his library before he
searches.
fetches. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So he'll stay life neutral, play a Hierarch.
Yeah. So like at a competitive tournament, you know, like,
That matters, but
it maybe matters.
okay.
Right?
So actually, Graham can turn on. So Graham this turn, if he wants to, can turn on the Ascension by helixing something.
Okay, so what Graham can... So he doesn't have double red, but he does have a Manamorphose.
So you can Manamorphose for double red. Does he see it? Or he's just going to helix? He's just going to helix the Hierarch. Trigger. Get this. Go up to 23.
I guess, like, to be fair, though, I kind of want to hold on to Manamorphose if we have an active Ascension, right?
Now, because now it's just like, now it's like draw 2.
Yeah, no.
Flip over a Selfless Spirit here for Greg.
This is now absurd, right? This is now draw 2, add
4.
Yeah.
For 2.
This is now a ritual and...
Dude, he's never losing the game with Rest for the Weary because Rest for the Weary is land... If he has landfall, it goes 16.
Gain 16. That's, like, absurd.
That's so much.
It is.
Trigger gain a life, go up to 17 again. And then I think we're probably going to see the Scavenging Ooze. It's too late because the...
It is too late.
It's too late.
And Greg did have the option of playing this last turn.
Right. The problem is that he'd have to sort of guess what was in Graham's hand because he would have only been able to eat one thing.
Right, absolutely.
Draw step is a faithless looting.
Wow.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Bam! Manamorphose. Trigger. Make some mana.
Alright. The problem is, like, Graham doesn't actually have a payoff right now.
No, he needs to draw, like, the rest of his bolts and helices, and then he will, though.
Yeah.
Alright.
And Greg, I don't know if his last card is Path. Visions of Beyond can end up reading 2 mana, draw 6.
Oh, so there's a white mana added now and a draw. All right, landfall. Rest for the weary, baby. It's online.
It is online. I don't know if I'm like thrilled about it, but
Dude, you're gonna go to 37 life. Do you know how long it takes you to die from 37
what
life?
I do like is
Oh,
Faithless
Looting?
Looting.
Oh my god, this is so much filtering. Draw 2, pitch 2, draw 2, pitch 2.
Yes.
Gross. Pretty good. Also, I really like so Graham as he was resolving the Manamorphoses or the Manamorphose, he really did he was careful about, resolve 1 then resolve 2. I've seen a lot of players be like add 4 mana. I've done this myself. Add 4 mana, draw 2, and then you add the wrong colors of mana. And that's pretty bad.
Graham drew fetch remand,
God.
discard a fetch remand,
Yeah.
fetch remand, discard fetch remand, and played another
Yeah.
Faithless Looting, and now he's counting to see if he can visions and draw 6.
Draw 6 is really good in this deck, by the way. Although he doesn't have the ability to make any more red mana. He did play the island,
He did.
which I'm not a huge fan of. I know he did draw it, but so he does discard the rest for the weary. Gonna use the blue to Thought Scour. Oh, okay, he's definitely turning it on now, right?
Yeah.
Flip, draw, flip, draw.
All right, let's see. What do we draw?
Serum Vision's Thing in the Ice.
All
Thing
right.
in the Ice, Deece, but draw 6 better. So I would like him to play the Thing in the Ice and then cast Visions of Beyond for the counters.
Yeah.
I don't know if it matters that much.
I mean,
Oh my god. I think Greg just scooped.
yeah. It looks like
Greg scooped to that. I'm not. Yeah, Greg with the cheeky, just I can't beat draw 6. I will be honest with you. I don't think I scooped there.
I don't think So there's an argument for scooping to save time. So what percentage do you think Greg gets to win this game?
Well,
Graham is about
okay. Yeah, he's pretty low.
Right, Graham is going to draw 6 here,
Yeah, that's right.
and then next turn, when we untap with a full hand, we go ham. Right, now we can do anything, and there's no way Greg has lethal.
Right. Okay. Yeah, Greg definitely doesn't have lethal.
There's no combination of draw that Greg has lethal, and if you're this far behind, we're just wasting time, right? Because it's not like Graham can whiff even. Because there are a lot of combo decks where it's well, if you get extraordinarily unlucky, I can win. But Graham just drew 20 cards. Even if you're extraordinarily unlucky, you
That's fair.
yeah, right. Although Shaven doesn't actually know what Graham's win condition is. He didn't actually, because Graham didn't reveal a thing at any point in that game.
Greg never saw Grape Shot either.
Right.
He hasn't seen Grape Shot. He hasn't seen Past in Flames. He hasn't seen Thing in the Ice. He just knows that there's a Pyromancer's Ascension.
He did see Rest for the Weary though, which
Okay, so
which would set off a lot of flags for me. It was
this is sort of crazy, but what if you have the Rest for the Weary, and then you Manamorphose up, and you play a Felidar Sovereign,
oh, okay.
because your life total is super high from casting gain 16 for 2 mana, and then you win the game on your next upkeep.
Yeah, sure.
Hey man, there are worse decks that exist that we have seen on this stream.
All I'm saying is, casting Aetherflux Reservoir seems strictly better than what you just suggested. Because even if your opponent chords for Spellskite and it was redirect to Spellskite, you're sure, cast a bunch more spells. And at a certain point, your spells are this Serum Visions gains me 11 life.
Man, Man, Aetherflux Reservoir is such a cool card. I wish I could make it work in Modern. It's just so bad.
It's just, yeah.
It's so bad.
So I think Greg, kind of bringing us back here. Greg must know that Graham's not on, like, normal Storm, right? Because that doesn't run Visions of Beyond.
It also doesn't play Rest for the Weary.
Yes. Frankly, nothing plays Rest for the Weary. But, like, we'll let that go for now.
We will.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're going to go game 2 here. Greg going to be on the play. Honestly, we haven't seen a lot of what Greg's deck does.
Yeah, like, a Never Drew the Collected Company, Graham happened to have the, both Helix in for the night. The only play that Greg could have made differently
was play the Scoos.
Well, actually, 2 plays. One, he could have played the Scoos, which is not very good.
You have to guess that he has another Helix exactly.
Exactly. So that play is like, not great. The other plays, Greg could have Ghost Quartered himself.
Yeah, and that would have
to deny
the untapped land.
The untapped land, right? That play still is not great against Bolt, but that does mean that, like,
Helix is out of the question.
Yeah, Helix is out of the question. Which, admittedly, like, Graham
it's pretty low margin.
Well, I mean, Graham did play 1 Helix already.
1 Bolt, you mean?
No, he played a Helix earlier.
No, he bolted the Hierarch, and then he went to bolt the Knight.
Oh, right, because it turned 2, he Ascension. That was the first Helix. That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's also the added play. If you Ghost Quarter yourself, your Knight is just bigger for an attack.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if I I think in that situation, I'm like, Ghost Quarter him. The other thing I also think that Greg might have been, like, one of the things that is sort of playing into this here is, like, Greg might not, like, be super familiar with Thing Ascension, and so, like, if you're on Thing Ascension, right, you were,
because the Thing Ascension lists all run Helix, right?
You have to run Helix. It's a mandated 4 of, because it's like, when you have Ascension on, the way that you win a lot of your games because they kill your thing in the ice is you just bolt them 3 times with basically
with an active Ascension,
with a kicked bolt, and you do 6 damage each time.
Also, like, because a removal is kind of shoddy, the life gain can be super relevant as well.
Graham with a hand that has Anger of the Gods in it, pretty good.
Seems good.
Also, Greg is definitely on Bant because he has a Spell Queller.
He also has Selfless Spirit in his deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this looks like a Bant Coco as opposed to.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
We were deceived when you said Abzan.
I know Schaefer was on Absent Company for a very long time.
Yeah, I think he's testing a lot of different company decks for Baltimore. Is from what I understand was hearing him talk to his teammates before the match today. So Graham with the Visions of Beyond for the draw step. Gonna shock again here. Gonna go Helix. So gonna gain a life net up to 21.
Ooh, double force though.
Yeah, not great.
That I think the only 2 forests in the deck,
and no third land.
No third land. Oh man, this can get out of hand really quickly.
The thing is that there's no thing in the ice for Graham, so it's fine. Yeah. Also, I think he just do Gavany Township.
Oh my god, the 3 worst lands for this deck to draw.
This is just like a lot of uncastable spells right now.
I mean, we're 2 lands away from Spell Queller.
It's okay.
We have 3 lands in play, and we're still 2 more away from playing the Spell Queller.
Yeah. Graham thinking about an island here, probably just gonna cycle the Visions, which I like. Also, like, Graham has an Anger of the Gods in hand. This man don't afraid of anything.
Yeah.
Wham, cycle.
Alright, yeah, we're super far away from ever
turning that on. For real. You're just trying to draw a thing in the. Oh wow, AV. Nice.
AV, I like AV.
AV's pretty good, especially when your opponent's on Double Forest Ghost Quarter.
Yeah, although
Double Forest.
Spell Queller pretty good against AV.
Yeah, but like you're on a, like you have Anger of the Gods, dude. Have you ever been afraid in your life? All right, this is Greg. Greg has 2 companies in hand and 3 lands, and this is the company player's nightmare, right?
It's the company, and also just straight uncastable. I don't think Greg can cast a single spell in this hand.
He can cast Company if he draws a land. He's only 1 land away from Company.
Sure.
However, Forest, Gavany Township, probably not doing a lot of other cool spells and stuff.
Right.
You know? Like, ooh, wow, nice. Graham remembers, before he draws that card, to take down the AV. Looking like some Jeskai control here, gonna fetch to 16.
Yeah, and not entirely clear if Graham still has a remands in. We did see 2 of them when he.
We did.
When he.
That's a 3 or a 4 of usually.
Right, when he ascensioned the Faithless Looting.
Serum Visions, draw scry 2.
Yeah, it's just Greg's draw of...
Has Anger of the Gods and another land on top. I'm inclined to double bottom.
Yeah.
And he does.
We really need to find a thing. Yeah, just Greg's draw of Forest, Gavening Township. Just not great.
Pretty bad. Courser of Crewfix. We're in it.
Did we do it?
That card's castable. Land on top. Oh, it's a Windswept Heath. He puts that into play. He'll go to 21. What a god. He needs to reveal the top of his library again, though. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, Knight of the Reliquary on top?
Okay.
That's castable. We're in business. We were never afraid.
Yeah. So Greg can't like upkeep this Coco to ensure he hits Knight because he has to crack the fetch. But I mean, at least now we're like doing things.
And the thing is that Graham still isn't doing things. Oh, yo, tear. You can tear the Courser of Crewfix.
You can tear the Courser of Crewfix. I'm
excited about this possibility. Fetch. Oh, tear it in response to the fetch to deny him the net life.
I think that the information from what is on top of the deck is more important than life. Also, you can get the sick beats of if Greg finds a spell Sky, you can get both.
Get them both? I like it. I like it.
I mean, I would fire this
tear off. I would like the
draw step.
Yeah. Flip the top card. Whoop. Flip Noble Hierarch. Noble Hierarch's pretty good.
Actually, like if I was Greg, I'd really consider like upkeep Cocoing to not draw that Noble Hierarch.
I understand that. This is an attack gonna put Graham down to 14. Graham is like just can't find cards to do spells with.
Yeah.
And Greg is like happy to just sit on this because he knows he's gonna Coco. Graham, do the Wear Tear. You know you wanna. Oh, it's 1 mana, kill your Courser.
Yeah, it's like
please do it.
It's like Path to
X. No, it's like okay, draw Spire Bluff. Rough here for Graham. He's like just not drawing a threat at all. Coco, slam that, and they're like, and Greg's like, do I win? Maybe.
All right.
3 Kasali Pride Mage, Voice of Resurgence, and stuff. Okay, so I think you get Voice Kasali here. It gets angered away pretty hard. On Graham's turn, but that's okay.
But you know what you can do in response to anger? You can Spellcaller it.
Not with these lands.
I mean, we've got a free look here.
Oh, no voice.
Yeah, I'm really interested.
Oh, he's just making this Courser into the biggest threat ever created.
Yeah. This also means that he can Queller.
Knight on top. Play this land, trigger Courser 22.
Okay, so I'm interested in what Graham is holding onto this Wear Tear for, because I would have definitely fired it up on
I don't know. I don't know what it's... oh, you know what? Graham might be afraid of Retreat to Coral Helm. This is an attack for 4.
But, like, the retreat, like, I don't even know if at this point I even care about.
No, I think you should kill the Courser with the... I think you should have done it a while ago.
Yeah, like...
2 mana, 3 mana, 1 green, white... Gonna cast a... Ooh, that's an Eidolon of Rhetoric. This is really, really good.
So this is a good target for Wear Tear. Now Graham is just a genius for holding on to this. Because this is going to get Spellcaller. And then, oh my god, if Greg Spellcaller this, then Graham goes... Anger of the Gods, get back the Wear Tear the Courser.
Oh god, or Wear Tear the Eidolon.
The Courser.
Wait. If that were to get Spell Quellered there. Oh wait, no. Does playing the Eidolon count as your spell for the turn?
Yes.
Then Greg couldn't cast Queller. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
But Queller will go off on the AV.
But that doesn't matter.
That mostly doesn't matter, honestly. There's at least here we go. He found the Ascension. There's already a Helix in the yard. Oh, he's just gonna anger, I think. Yep.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
I mean, the draw 3 is pretty good.
Punished. Yeah, so, ooh, God, just scoop the whole board up. Gonna get to draw 3 with his... Yeah, I would like to cast this spell.
Target me.
Of course.
So there's another AV.
He can just... I would just go Ascension AV. Oh, no, don't tap out a blue! Oh.
No, Bolt here. Bolt kills the Courser.
Oh, nice. And gets a trigger.
Yeah,
Courser's exile as well.
Yep. Greg really not throw. This Knight of the Royal card is extremely tiny.
It's just like what
It's a singleton fetch, right?
It's yeah. He has a Horizon Canopy that can take it out of bolt range.
Yeah, but this. I mean, look how many cards are in Graham's hand. Look how many cards are in the graveyard. Greg bought him a Kosali Pride Mage from the Coco.
Yeah.
Lost one, and
just plays the Hierarch passes.
Yeah.
I think Graham is about to go off. This deck might still have legs. I might sleeve this up at some point.
Yeah, Greg's got to be trying to hit Coco, right?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah, and the Coco's got to try to hit a Spellcaller, because the Eidolon's like definitely a one of.
Yeah.
Because you know.
Yeah, no, it's a one of for sure.
Because hitting the Eidolon's the dream, right? All of a sudden it's like, all right, we're done here.
Yeah.
The turn is over.
Stop. So okay, so Graham's gonna Manamorphose, then he can Manamorphose again. Then he can just go off.
But can you turn it on a different way? Because
he has another Helix, I think.
Okay, so I would definitely just fire off the Helix.
Yeah.
Because then all of a sudden these Manamorphoses are insane.
Yeah. But he'll go Helix trigger. Go up to 10.
Alright. So Greg doesn't even have the mana for Pride Mage even if they hit it.
Wait, what? Oh yeah, you're right. He can't activate Pride Mage.
Yeah.
That's 100% correct. I think that is a life counter that Graham is using with that. So now the Manamorphoses are real. This is a 6 damage Helix he has. Boom.
Alright. Now, so Greg gotta decide when he wants to fire off this Coco.
I think you do it now if you're gonna do it at all.
Alright, so he's trying to spell clause this and like potentially like the big thing is like he hit the Eidolon already. Mm-hmm. So the Eidolon's the really only good.
Oh my god. Oh, okay.
Holy
Single
crap.
Knight Coco.
Oh my god, and it hit the Unified Will as well. So Greg is just F6 now.
Yep.
And we're gonna. This is going to
theoretically, I think Graham can maybe clean up from here.
I would be
Draws
like
another wear tear. Wow.
Yeah, I have no like.
What is this wear tear business? Maybe Spellskite?
Yeah, I would be shocked if Graham can't win from here. Because like
Scour.
the Thought Scour is just like, I'm a little curious as to why he.
He's gonna go 1/1 with the Helix here, or like 3/3.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised why Graham made so much white mana.
You want to be able to cast the rest of your Helixes.
Sure.
I don't hate this.
All right.
Manamorphose again.
Oh man, this is just so much value. There's a Bolt. All right.
So he only needs to draw 2 more Bolt effects to win the game.
Yeah. And he's gone through 2 of the Manamorphoses. It's just like, even if Graham doesn't win, like, on this turn...
Greg has just nothing going on.
Greg has nothing going on. I don't know. Ooh, he had one of the Manamorphos. Alright, what do we draw here?
Another Ascension, Serum Visions. Okay.
The Serum Visions I don't hate, though.
He's gonna play another Ascension here.
Alright,
Greg's just gonna
Greg has seen enough.
Greg is done.
It's just like, once this starts going, this is really like... Greg
Yeah.
knows that he's on the 0 outer here.
Yeah. Okay, so that's gonna do it. As Thing Ascension will take down Band Company 2-0.
Yeah, we're gonna see if. Oh, actually, looking at the time here.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting kind of late here, and it looks
Yeah.
like most of the matches are kind of wrapping up.
Yeah, just go confirm that they're wrapping. Yeah, Dan's gonna hop out of the booth. Make sure that things are wrapping up. Okay. Yeah, no, he's come back. So people seem to be mostly finishing or like in the middle of game 3. Greg is gonna open his packs on stream though, so we can be like, does he get sick rips? That's a Metallic Rebuke. among other things. And a Renegade Rallier. That's a card he might play in his own deck.
I believe he is playing that in his deck.
Okay. And not a whole lot else there. Gonna rip the other one. And wow, that is
That's
four oh my god.
We really don't want to lose the burn, I guess.
Yeah, and actually Graham's sorting out his deck here kind of nice. See if anyone's interested in that, but I'm interested in what's in the pack here. Rogue Refiner, Baral's Expertise.
Okay.
Baral's Expertise pretty legitimate against green-black, not so much against other stuff.
I'm not... If I was opening these packs, I would not be thrilled.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you just want to rip that Heart of Kieran, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean...
Heart of Kieran's like the value card this set?
No, I believe there are many masterpieces worth more than that.
Oh, well, okay, yeah, but those are masterpieces.
Dream big. Dream big.
That's good advice, Dan. All right, so as we come back to wrap it up tonight, this stream is sponsored by MTGCardMarket. We are a shop located off the Belmont Red Line stop on the north side of Chicago, just north of the Loop. If you're in the Chicagoland area, definitely stop by. The next big tournament at the store is going to be the standard 1K PPTQ March 25th, which you can see in the sidebar here. There we go. Oh, you did it. I didn't. Yeah, we also have events almost every single day of the week. So Monday standard is Win a Box. There's drafts on Tuesday, Modern on Wednesday, as you can tell from the stream. Legacy on Thursday, Win a Box standard on Friday for F&M. And then, various things over the weekend. There's an active Facebook group, which you can post, if you want to test or, come into the shop. Definitely a great place to play Magic.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're ever interested in getting cards as well, the MTGCardMarket.com has all of your card purchasing needs.
Yeah.
There's also a coupon code of MTGCM Direct that will get you.
I'll put in the chat here.
That will get you 10% off your first order with us.
Yeah, so MTGCM Direct, putting this coupon code in on the website will get you 10% off. Highly recommend you use that. Pick up some singles, for whatever event suits your fancy. This upcoming weekend we have SCG Baltimore. I am sure just gonna love hearing the stories from that next week.
It should be a good time though, right? There's quite a few people from the shop.
Yeah, I think there's 4 teams or something.
Yeah, there's something like 20, at least 10 to 15 players that I'm aware of from the Chicago area who will all be on the same flight.
Dang.
So
that flight carries the hopes of Chicago with it. Let's go.
Yeah, but with that, we'll be wrapping this up. Thank you once again for joining us tonight. This is Daniel and Matt, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week,
Have a good
guys.
night.